Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Transatlantic Call-In Show. I'm your host, no longer student Dr. Ben. I have to think about this every time I speak now because I am not student Dr. Ben. I am Dr. Ben, here today with our special co-host, Josie, who you all have seen here before. How are you today, Josie?
I am doing well, and congratulations for no longer being a student. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of life changes, so that all happened, and then I just had top surgery on Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped to be here to celebrate with everybody here. And this is a show where you can call in and talk to real life trans people. We have a trans woman and a trans man here today. So if you have questions that you might think are a bit awkward to talk to your friends about, or you just aren't sure about something going on in the media, you can call us. I know there's been a couple tech issues, but we are getting the lines open. The number is 720-619-2288 if you want to call into the show today, or you can call in from the web, and there's a link in the description. So it's been a while since Josie has been here. What have you been up to since your last appearance?
Oh my goodness, I have been up to so much. I did some lobbying on the Hill, working for veteran reproductive rights. I was just quoted in the BBC. I just saw that. That was pretty interesting.
Wow.
I have it international news. Haven't done that one yet. That's cool for me. But also, I've been really been connecting with what's been going on with Zoe Zephyr and what's been going on nationally as far as like censorship and things of that nature. So been working a lot with the DNC, trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing. And it's just a lot of things.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. But since we've got a little bit of time right now, and this isn't directly related to any of the polls that we have, but it is very important. Can you fill in the audience about what has been going on with the state of Montana and that whole situation, just to get people up to speed?
Absolutely. So Zoe Zephyr is a trans woman in Montana. She is a representative, and she is the first representative that is trans in Montana's history. But she was speaking against a piece of legislation that was going after the health care of trans people in her state. And she said during her comment that if they approve this bill, there will be blood on their hands. And now the Republicans felt like that was inappropriate, so much so that they told her that she could no longer speak on that bill. And then the people of Montana, she represents about 11,000 Montanan residents. A lot of those people went to the state house and said, let her speak. And because it was a raucous protest, there were 7 people arrested. The Montana House said that she led an insurrection. Of course, they used those words, which was nothing more than a protest. And they have officially censored her. So she can no longer speak on the floor of the Montana House, which is, a complete violation of the civil rights of not only Zoe, but also the 11,000 people that she represents. And, to kind of illustrate what's going on, and I'll use a lot of paraphrasing what Zoe said, is what you see in Tennessee with young Black men getting censured for fighting gun violence. We are now seeing trans people getting censured for fighting for our own rights to exist and having health care that saves our lives. And this is a terrible precedent. We're starting to see the Republicans take bold action against minority voices to quite literally censor them and stop them from being able to speak. So it is an explosive situation right now, and the Montana Dems are supportive, the DNC supportive, everybody that is on her side is supportive, and we're trying to now try to rectify this and make sure that she gets her voice back, because this is just absolutely horrific. And I would also say a new thing that is also happening that is in Nebraska, there is a representative with a trans child who is about 12 years old, and she is now getting disciplinary action because they said that for her to speak or vote on a bill that limits the access of trans people is a conflict of interest because she has a trans child. So they're not even letting parents of trans kids vote when these things actually affect our lives. So it is quite horrific what is going on, but we are winning in the courts. Missouri just struck down a court, just stayed. The attorney general there was trying to ban all gender affirming care basically across the board for all adults. So the courts have stopped that from continuing, and we hope that it will stay that way. But yeah, it's a very raucous time right now. We're in the heat of the state legislature, and a lot of things are going on.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and I hope you all that are listening to this are now caught up a little bit about what you're seeing on the internet, because opinions are flying all over the place, and it's hard sometimes to know really what is the story behind this and what's going on. But we do have a couple polls to get to. So we have the poll from last week that I'm curious to hear your thoughts on.
Yes,
Jimmy
absolutely.
can pull that one up. Should trans doctors and scientists make the majority of decisions in trans healthcare? And 45% of you said yes, and 55% said no. And I kind of gave my thoughts last time, which I can reiterate mine in a little bit. But since Josie wasn't here to address this the last time, what do you think about this particular question?
So should trans doctors and scientists make the majority of the decisions in trans healthcare? It's interesting because I feel like, yes, like WPATH is a lot of trans people, the clinicians that kind of lead the standards of care. I think that's very important to have that voice. However, as you well know, there isn't a lot of trans doctors and scientists to be like pushing forward the narrative altogether. So we need allies to be able to get this fully settled. Now, I would modify it and say, should trans doctors and scientists lead majority of the decisions in trans healthcare? I think that would have changed the outcome to a resounding yes. But to make a majority of the decisions could leave us waiting for people to make those decisions. So it's a very interesting split, I think. So it could be more nuanced than the way it's written.
Oh yeah, and it's intentionally meant to spark the conversation, to get people to comment what they believe is the right answer. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that it should be trans-led, and that the trans doctors and scientists should be heading the effort, and the allies should be deferring to them for a lot of things. But yeah, if we prevent cis people from being allies, we just lose access to care across the board, and we lose those decisions. Because then the other thing too that we have to consider is we say a lot that, like, yeah, we want trans people to be able to fight for themselves and to be able to represent themselves, but it's not an obligation for every trans person to have to fight for themselves constantly. And I think if we force trans doctors and scientists to be the only ones making these decisions, you're not giving them the opportunity to decline being part of that fight, because some people just do not have the emotional energy to participate, and they shouldn't be forced to. So I think this is definitely a nuanced conversation.
For sure. And I would even say, like, you know, I know a lot about trans healthcare, and because I work in the space, but I would still defer to you and medical advice and medical decisions. So, you know, right there is a good example of what that would be, right?
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one before we go to the next poll?
No, I think that's pretty good, but I definitely love how people really put a lot of thought into answering this question.
Yeah, for sure. This one stirred up a little bit of controversy, but this week is a bit more serious of a topic, but it related a lot to me and to Josie as well. So I thought we'd go for it today. So let's bring up today's poll. So today's is, does transparency about post-operative depression lead to worsened gatekeeping for those interested in surgical transition? And you can answer yes or no. And this really means a lot to me because, like, as I mentioned, I had top surgery on Monday. So I'm day 3 post-op, and the first week, especially after surgery, is very rough for a lot of people. Like, physically, I'm feeling great. Emotionally, I have had a history of post-operative depression for other surgeries, so I know that this is normal for me, and this is normal for a lot of people. But too often we see, especially online, where you're only getting part of the story. You see just the euphoria, and yeah, for some people it's normal to get euphoria immediately after surgery. Some people have a great experience right after, and that's great. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people have some depression, or they have some feelings of regret, not like regret that they would not want to do the procedure again, but they question a little bit because it's a big change. It's a traumatic thing that happened to your body. Like, you went into a medically induced coma. You had a physically and emotionally traumatic experience that permanently changed your body, and, like, depending on what organs were operated on, like, hormonally change you, and you're on medications that are altering your body chemistry. So it's a traumatic. And while we know that this is a temporary phase, I've even seen for FTM top surgery, it's very common to have these feelings for the first couple of weeks, and then it goes up and gets better for a few months after. And I know for myself that I will be euphoric soon. I will have a time when I'm very happy with my results and happy that I did it. I'm not quite there yet, in all honesty. And I want to make sure that people that are undergoing these procedures know that that's a normal thing to feel. And it doesn't mean that you're not trans. It doesn't mean you're making the wrong decision. It's just a big thing for your body to deal with. And it's okay. And it's okay to talk about it. And it's okay to not feel okay right after surgery. What are your thoughts, Josie?
I think this is a very important conversation, especially since, like, if you look at all surgeries, right? Like you said, like, you go through, their body goes through a trauma, like, you go, like, you use up all that dopamine to help you maintain, your pain levels, and then all of a sudden, like, you run out, and then it gets hard, right? And so what I always say, as long as this is talked about, like, any post-operative depression is going to happen most of the time. Even if it's a nose job, a knee surgery, a heart surgery, like, all of these different things are going to happen because of all those things that happen to your body. The thing that doesn't need to happen, though, is that scientists go, okay, 5 days after your surgery, how do you feel? And then publish that and say, this is what trans people feel after surgery, right? And that there has to be ethics about that. And I think that's where I think people may be afraid to talk about, like, I feel depressed, right? Because I went through a little mild depression after my surgery, because I was dilating so much. I was in severe pain all the time, and it definitely sucked. And even when I put on my leggings for the first time, I'm like, wait, this looks really great, but ow, right? I'm still in pain. I still have to could barely walk, like, all that type of stuff, right? But now, now that my recovery has gone, almost 6 months now, I feel so wonderful, so great. I don't regret it. It's euphoric, just looking in the mirror is just fantastic all the time. So I think that as long as we are using it for the understanding of, hey, it's okay if you feel bad after this surgery, because people feel bad after surgery. Right? It doesn't matter, right? And I always like to use the statistic about the fact that overall regret rates of surgeries across the board, including gender affirming surgeries, is like 10%. Yet the regret rate of a trans person with bottom, surgery, or any gender affirming surgery, is roughly like 1% or less than 1%, which is such a huge dramatic difference, right? So as long as we understand that it's completely about the post-operative part of the depression, not the regret that I had it, right? Because when you're depressed, you think all kinds of wild things. But after you let it go, you feel great. Everything usually feels pretty good. So there is hope. There is hope, Ben.
There's definitely hope.
You're gonna be fine in a few days.
Yeah, no, in a few days I'll probably feel great. Days 3 and 4 are almost always the worst, like, no matter what the surgery is. So But yeah, as long as we are careful to not use these feelings to invalidate other people and to say, well, you're going to regret it, so you shouldn't have the surgery. That's not how we should be using this information. It should be used to support each other and help each other understand that, your feelings aren't the end of the world after surgery, and everybody, at least most people, struggle a little bit. So we're all here for you. Everyone should be supportive of each other, and let's not use that information to put other people down or to gatekeep. So yeah. What do you think about taking some calls?
I am excited for the calls. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we've got one that I think you'd be interested in talking to. Let's talk to Kurt from Tennessee. Kurt, you are on the line. What can we do for you?
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Kurt.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
You've got Kurt. Yes, I can hear you. Can
Yep.
you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you. What is your topic today?
My topic is can you be pro-trans and be against, excuse me, I'm very nervous, but I'm on your team. I'm pro you guys. But can you be pro-trans and at the same time be against trans females in female sports?
So it's a great question. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate your honesty and your coming into this conversation with good faith, right? Yes, absolutely. So short answer is you should be supporting trans people's inclusion into sports. So I'll say right now, if you were to say flatly trans women don't belong in sports, I think a lot of people would say that is an anti-trans statement, right? However, I will say that there is science and evidence to show what is safe and what is appropriate for a trans woman going into women's sports. So, for example, a lot of the professional leagues out there have already created standards, such as the Olympics, right? They've been allowing trans people in the Olympics for since 2003, and they have only been updating their standards as time has gone on. In fact, they're about to do another revision in the near future before the next Olympic cycle happens. So what we've seen typically is in team sports, it's about 1 year to 2 years of hormone replacement therapy. And what the science shows is that you lose all of the major biological advantages when it comes to testosterone in your body. Then if for combat sports and maybe sports that are a little bit more contact, it's about 2 to 3 years, and also powerlifting as well, is where a lot of these sports say, yes, this is the right amount. Now, I know that a lot of people will bring up, the nuances of like trans women are taller on average, or, they'll use bone density and Q angle, and they'll say, or start using these very specific characteristics to try to say invalidate our existence. However, when it comes to just the puberty in general, it's idiosyncratic, right? There are tall people of all genders. There are muscular people of all genders. There are people with different bone structures of all genders. So what we have to realize is the averages don't actually make the rule, and that's kind of the way sports has always been. Elite sports have always been like the top performers. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I spoke at you for a minute there.
That's okay. That's okay. This is a hot button thing, and I want to support trans people. I do. This is the way I think a lot of people look at it. Okay, we talk about when people have objections to trans people, a lot of them they'll say, "Well, you're not a woman," and so we're talking about identity. This is so trans. Would you agree that for the most part, the transgender and the LGBTQ? I'm sorry if I get some of this wrong. Would you agree that most of this is about acceptance of one's identity and being able to live their life as they identify.
Yes, that's
I would
pretty
agree
clear.
with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You think, okay, now, it seems to me that the trans women in female sports is more of a scientific and physiological issue. It kind of brings back to me how the word racism has got misused and thrown around so easily. It's like it's every time that there's a chance to throw that word around. And I'm ex-Republican, I'm atheist, I'm as open-minded as they come, but I'm afraid that this issue loses a lot of people that are on the fence of supporting your community and everything, because I understand the hormonal issue. When I was 43, my testosterone was 79 on the first test and 81 on the second. Now, I don't know what the athletic requirements are of how low testosterone has to be, but my estrogen was really high too, because I was really overweight and I had a lot of aromatase conversion. And a girl's range is up to 70 in testosterone. I was right there at high female. But there's no way that another female, even if she had taken some hormones for a year or two, would ever be able to compete with me.
Hold on.
To me, it's
hold on. There's some bias there that I see a lot in sports, and this is problematic, and this is actually very misogynistic. The fact that, what sport specifically are you talking about that a woman would not be able to compete with you in?
Weightlifting, swimming.
Okay. So you're talking about you started with weightlifting and then you brought in multiple other sports. So hold on, Kurt. Do you think all sports involve the same activity, the same strength, same flexibility, same agility, same everything? Do you think all sports can be like just swapped out and have the same people be good at those sports?
No, but there's also
do you think
a reason.
that inherent? No, Kurt, listen to me. Do you think that that cisgender men are inherently better at all sports than cis women?
Yes.
You do think
as a matter of fact,
you think every cis man is inherently better at all sport activities
maybe
than
not
cis
maybe
women?
not all sports when you're talking about skill sports, but when you're talking about physical sports, I would say yes.
Here's the thing, Kurt, though. When people are making these arguments, they use ambiguous language to try to get you to think of a certain thing. So when people say sports, they try to get you to think of strength-focused sports like weightlifting, like combat sports, etc. But that's not the extent of sport, right? Like, we're also talking synchronized swimming is an athletic activity that would be considered a sport. Skeet shooting is a sport. Sailing is a sport. Gymnastics is a sport. A lot of these things that are seen as feminine are also sports that require a lot of strength, agility, flexibility, etc. And we see that physiologically, cis women are better equipped to handle sports like gymnastics than many cis men. So, like, to just blanket say that all cis men are inherently better at sports than cis women is flawed reasoning, and you're taking an ambiguous term to like set this general bar that everybody of this category is a certain way. And that's a poor way to think about it. I think if you break this down by sport, like Josie and I are saying, there's nuance to who would have an advantage in any certain sport. And it's just incredibly dishonest to say that cis people would just by default be better at even a combat sport. Like, I dare the majority of cis men, especially cis men that have never trained a combat sport, to get into the ring with Amanda Nunes. Like, I doubt you will last more than a few seconds with her, and she's a cis woman.
Yeah.
Ben, we're not that far apart. I'm afraid you've misread me a little bit, and I don't have any.
And it might not, Kurt. Hold on. It might not be that that's your intention to say that, but that's the argument that you're making when you say things like that. And that's the argument that people that are trying to like pass the legislation are making. So even if that's not your intention, I have to be clear about what argument is actually being communicated, because that's what's being said.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand. You took my argument that way, and I may have misstated my argument some and not communicated my point quite as well as I would. But let me ask you this. For regular sports, and leaving the transgender out of it, are athletes allowed to use performance-enhancing drugs in between competition?
No, but that's not related, and
That's not hormones.
I don't like where you're going with this, because trans women are not taking performance-enhancing hormones.
Let me ask one last question.
Yeah,
ask one more question, and then we're gonna talk for a second.
I do want to jump in.
I'm trying to look at the physiology of things. If you put one of these transgender men into a body scanner, a DEXA scanner that shows muscle mass and fat distribution and bone mass,
hey Kurt,
after being on testosterone for a couple of years, he's still going to look like a man.
That's right. Trans men are men.
Trans men are men. I am a trans man. I have a muscle mass of a man.
I'm sorry if I'm misusing my pronouns, and I'm trying to be respectful. And I said,
Kurt, and I see where you're trying to go, and I'm just trying to make things clear, because you come here saying that you want to use these. You want to discuss physiology, and honestly, Kurt, I'm not convinced you have enough foundation in the physiology to understand what we're talking about. Like, do you have? I'm not claiming that I have any training, but I have seen. So that would explain why there's some missing nuance here. Like, I think you're thinking about it oversimplistically, and we're trying to explain to you the nuance of this scenario. And I think Josie wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I just want to jump in really quick, Kurt, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I think I know what you're saying, right? And you're talking about the physiology of it, but I want to also take a step back, right, about why this conversation about sports is the highlighting sports, kind of like you started the conversation about like, hey, I support trans people. I think trans people should exist. I think they should be in society. But I want to talk about this one thing. Now, I want you to like take a step back and think about when you see a trans woman, or when society sees a trans woman. I'm going to use trans women in particular. Does the society see a person like me, or do they see like Dwayne Johnson in a tutu?
Well, let me tell you. I don't want to speak for society. I want to tell you how I see you. I see you as a woman. I think Arden is hot. I'm jealous of Matt. I think Katy. I think she's beautiful. I think they're women. I consider them women. I don't have any problem with that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I jerk off. Listen to me. I jerk off to trans.
Hold on. I get
Kurt,
it. A lot of people
we're not gonna talk about that.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Can you answer Josie's question?
I want to stop. I know. I'm trying to stop you for a second, okay? When I was in the United States Navy, I used to actually be an amateur bodybuilder. I weighed a lot of. I was really muscular. Like, I was pretty large, right? And now I have seen, because I was an athlete, right? I was a cross country runner. I did amateur bodybuilding, and I played soccer. And I look at my body now after 3 years of hormones, over 3 years of hormones, and even having bottom surgery and things of that nature. What I've seen is my body fundamentally change, right? The muscles in my arms are not the same as they used to be. The muscles in my thighs are not the same what they used to be. And when you were talking about scanning and body scans and things of that nature, when a person is on the hormones of their identity that they are on, if they choose to, like like myself, on estrogen and the blockage of testosterone. My testosterone levels are less than 10, and my female estrogen levels are the same of just on the average level of a female. So when you look at that and you see the scans, my muscle mass is going to be very identical to a cis female. In fact, I know a lot of cis females that are still working out, still bodybuilding, that would crush me. I am very weak compared to a lot of cis women because of the fact that I've had to do these testosterone blockers. Now, I want to also say this. You said 70, right? And usually the average is anywhere between 20 to like 50, but I think some sports allow it to be 20 to 70.
Male hormone between 300 and 1,000.
Okay. Yeah, I know that. I'm talking about
I was at 79.
I'm talking about testosterone technically, right? So most organizations require testosterone to be less than 20 or 10, right? So already trans women are in a disadvantage to what you said the average cis woman has to have, right? So we already are getting limited in that way. So scientifically, physiologically, there is no difference pound for pound, inch for inch between a trans woman and a cis woman that in the field when they've been on hormone replacement therapy. The same thing goes for trans men. For example, I wouldn't want Dr. Ben, playing in professional sports against women because it wouldn't be fair, right? Because the testosterone really does physiologically make you stronger when you're on it. That's the key words, right?
Okay.
When you have it in your body.
This I'm gonna close with this. I'll let you guys go. I want you to know, even though I haven't changed my mind on this issue, I still love you guys. I support you guys. I want you to be able to live your life in freedom and for people to respect you, and we got to learn to love each other in this world. So I'm not your enemy. Please know that. But you said you were a bodybuilder, and I know I've taken up a lot of time. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm 58 years old. At one time, my testosterone had got down, and it probably got down that way for several years, down around 70 to 80. And so I'm depressed, I'm fat, I'm overweight and everything. And so I've been on it for about 15 years. 2 years ago, I started lifting weights again. I can incline bench press, and I've had 34 surgeries. I got joint replacements. I can incline bench press 235 pounds for 6 reps. I'm in the top 0.5% of men. Any man that has never lifted weights like I did when I was young can't go in the gym with my hormone level and
So what does that have to do with trans people? That has nothing to do with trans people at all.
Yeah, you're not trans. I'm sorry to tell you this, Kurt. You're not a trans woman.
It has
you don't
to do
have
with muscle mass, muscle memory. Anybody will tell you is if you've ever been in shape before, you can get in shape easier. And if you get in shape with
oversimplifying, and this is why I was talking to you about how I think you're overly simplifying this. I don't think you understand the science enough to make these arguments. Like maybe I would suggest go reading some literature if you can, because or even just understanding the hormonal physiology, because there's a lot of feedback inhibition that happens with hormones, and even a lot of trans people are post-op and they're not producing certain hormones anymore.
Right.
And so their hormone pathway is completely different. So even if you're a cis man that hasn't bodybuilt for a while and then gets back into lifting, your hormone pathways still work in a way that a cis man's hormone pathways would work. You have similar amounts of receptors, similar amounts of chemical present, and the feedback mechanism works the same as it always has been. That's not the case with trans people. So I think you don't understand the concepts enough for it to make. And I get that it doesn't make sense because I had to go through a lot of schooling to be able to understand it to the way that I do. But I think maybe it's a point where you need to defer a little bit to the studies out there and understand that maybe it doesn't quite make sense to you, but maybe you can learn more and it'll start to be easier.
Man, I tell
I'm gonna
you
be
what,
going back to the gym. I'll see if I get that strong again. I'll tell you, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think we're gonna move on to the next call, but maybe call in next time, and we can go read some studies, and then we can continue this call next time and maybe see if we can make some more ground.
Find out how many gold-winning Olympic trans medalist winners there are too. It's a pretty easy answer. The answer is 0.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get on to the next call, I do want to mention some announcements. So first of all, you can submit a super chat of $5 or more and get it read on the air at the end of the show. And you can vote for Team Josie or Team Ben today. And I don't know what the punishment's going to be, if there is going to be one. We'll think of something when we get to the super chats. But get your votes in because we will read them at the end. And also, if you want to support the show in other financial ways and you want to be able to hang out with some cool people on Zoom calls a couple times a month, you can go to the Patreon, patreon.com/calltheline. And if you join there, you get access to some really cool events that Jimmy puts on for the patrons only, but you got to sign up to be able to do that. We also have other shows on this channel. We've got Skep Talk. I don't know who's hosting this week, if Jimmy gives me a list of who all is hosting this upcoming week. But there is Skep Talk. There is the Hang Up that unfortunately you had to be rescheduled from this week. So hopefully that will be happening next week with amazing guests. And of course, Transatlantic returns as well next week. So be sure to watch the other shows on the channel.
The normal
and
schedule
with that,
link has all of these on it. Did you know that?
It does. I don't.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Monday is Skep Talk with Forrest Valkai and Erica from Guts at Gibbon. Tuesday is myself with Aaron Lewis. Wednesday is Matt with Be Good Brady. I'm trying to remember how the whole name goes together. I think mostly just goes by Be Good, B period good, but Brady Goodwin. And then next Thursday, I don't remember. I think it's Arden and somebody.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Any other announcements you got, Jimmy, before I move on to the next call?
I'll probably do a Zoom with patrons this coming Sunday, and people can come ask about the hack stuff if they want or something. But probably this Sunday we'll do a patron Zoom, yeah. Patreon.com.
All right, so go sign up for the Patreon so you can get in on that Zoom hangout. If you want to join in, got to go to the Patreon. And with that, we've got a call specifically for Josie, so I'm going to make sure that we take this one.
Fun.
We got Satya from Arizona. You're on the line. What would you like to talk about today?
Hi, thanks. Double congratulations to the doctor formerly known as student Dr. Ben.
Thank you.
My topic relates to a particular aspect of Blanchard's typology, specifically age of transition as it relates to the more modern concept, age of egg cracking. And while it seems obvious to trans people looking back at Blanchard's research that he went into it seeking to prove trans women are men, actually, I can't help but look at the disparity in age of transition and think there's a much simpler and obvious explanation for what he observed. And he saw what we call straight trans women transitioned at earlier ages than trans lesbians. And just from my personal experience interacting with trans femmes in person and online, that does seem to hold up, but that's just anecdotally. But there seems to be very obvious social trends that could cause trans femmes to realize they're trans earlier or later. And for the purposes of I'm unfortunately lumping bi and pan trans women in with either straight or lesbian trans women based on who they were aware they were attracted to it early on in life. So straight trans women who figure out their sexuality before their gender and misidentify themselves as gay men have a number of factors that can push them to an earlier egg crack. They realize they are queer from earlier age. They have additional time to wonder how they might not fit with normative cishet models. They might have access to social spaces of queer people who are experimenting with more feminine gender presentation. They're also more likely to have social spaces where they could actually interact with other trans people. On the other side, trans lesbians who likewise figure out their attraction first and think of themselves as straight men for a time have a number of factors that can delay their egg crack. People who think they're straight trans men are super not encouraged to think about gender or themselves as gendered beings because there's the quote-unquote default gender. They can conflate gender envy and attraction and think it's all just attraction, and most depictions of trans women in culture are straight trans women, to the point where Many trans women have said, I didn't know trans women could be lesbians. A statement that once you're deep into trans culture is deeply funny, but when you're on the outside looking in, it can be an easy mistake to make. Now, I'm not saying I'm the first person to make these observations, but I don't know if I've ever seen anyone specifically present it as an alternative explanation for Blanchard's typology. And to my question, it's threefold. One, does modern data, such as from the U.S. Trans Survey, on the trans femme population show delayed egg cracking for lesbians, egg cracking transition, age of transition, etc., for lesbians over straight women? Does the explanation I put forth hold water? And three, if this trend is indeed observed, is there a distaff counterpart with trans men or not?
No, this is that, it's one of those things. I really appreciate your like how you connected all of that, in a good linking scenario. It's like one of those things. It's like, I don't know it's true, but it sounds like it is. So when you're talking about the actual, the survey, we are still in the process of analyzing the newest data set that just came through. The 2015 data set, unfortunately, was very high in youth population, and we didn't get to have that really solid data set across all ages like we are going to be able to get from the 2022 survey. And I don't know if we're going to be putting that information out on the report. However, I am going to say this. That was a beautiful research question. So if you are thinking about being a researcher or actually going to school and writing a thesis or actually like studying this in a serious way, I would really consider it. And I would use the US Trans Survey data when it's out to be able to answer that question. So you can actually look at the granularities to be able to further get the answer and a hypothesis, and then you could then ask a specific survey to trans people asking those questions based on the benchmarks of the 2022 survey once that data comes out. I know that was probably the most researcher type answer I could give you to a question like that, because there is no data to support that. However, with the trends that I have been looking at on the US Trans Survey, I do see that the US Trans Survey is predominantly queer. Like, I will say that, like, it's really queer. Very few trans people actually identify as straight. I can say anecdotally about myself, I came out at 34 years old, and I am, a bi person, right? I thought I was lesbian when I first came out right away. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the comp het in the weird reverse direction, right? Where it's like, it's like I'm compulsory heterosexual because I'm attracted to women, so they're attracted to me, but it never worked out right because I wasn't dating gay girls. So it's a very interesting hypothesis, and I think that further research could be done on the data set, and I am going to be looking at it once I actually start reviewing the actual hard data set. We're almost done with the cleaning. We hopefully will be done soon in the next couple days of the actual data set itself. So we're going to be able to answer a lot of those questions, but we do not have that on our list of questions to answer. But I'm definitely going to look at it on my own as far as the data, and hopefully somebody out there, maybe yourself, wants to get a research project and actually analyze that data in a very specific way. And it seems like you have a research mind. So it seems like you would be able to ask the questions in the right way after we start seeing the data set. And I think the numbers that you would be looking at is, I guess, when you come out as trans, what your sexual orientation is, and the age of when that happened. We have those numbers in the trans survey. So we could use that data to further understand that population in a better way. But no, I think that's a very insightful.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have any other thoughts?
The data doesn't exist yet.
It's soon. At the end of this year, we'll have the main report out.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other thoughts, or is that your question?
No, I guess since I got nowhere with that, I am curious because I have noticed this anecdotally, but I'm not super plugged into the trans mass community. I'm curious, Dr. Ben, like if you've got, have you noticed anything along these lines of basically like typical egg crack, like disparities in egg crack ages, coming out ages, transition ages for trans men based on sexuality? Is that something you've ever seen people talk about?
It's definitely a different experience because of the fact I think that it's more accepted for girls to be tomboys or to present more masculine in general without having to question your gender identity. Whereas I know many trans femmes often face more social consequences of exploring their gender identity. I think that's potentially a factor. But I know, for me at least, a lot of my egg cracking came from the question for myself of am I a woman, or am I not a woman, or am I just unhappy with how women are treated? And that was a really difficult conversation to have with myself because for me it ended up I just was not happy being a woman, but also a lot of my experience being a woman was especially in cis-het relationships, having to fulfill a certain role that met like purity culture guidelines, because that was the culture I was raised in. So I don't really know stats on what would make somebody crack earlier versus later among the trans mass community, and that's something I'm interested in seeing the data on too, because there is rhetoric, very convincing for a lot of people, rhetoric related to trans masks in adolescence. People trying to say that being trans is a social contagion because look at all of these young girls that are wanting to get mastectomies and like be boys, right, and why can't they just be happy being girls? And that's some pretty toxic rhetoric being used against trans men of that age. So I am curious to see what social factors play into that, and kind of if we can see even a correlation, if not a causation, of something that would predispose trans masks coming out earlier than trans femmes. But yeah, I have a lot of questions as well. Maybe it's something we're going to find out soon.
Yeah, the unfortunate side effect is of us constantly having to be on the defensive, and sometimes people questioning trans people's like true intentions and true motives is, unfortunately, because we're on the defensive, sometimes nuance gets obliterated. So like obviously we have to keep reminding people that sexuality and gender are different things, but that doesn't mean that people don't have a gendered experience of their sexuality, or that their sexuality can't inform how they experience gender. And so that conversation, because like if transphobes just would shut the fuck up and leave us alone, these are conversations we'd have more time to explore instead of just having to hammer away and go gender and sexuality are different, period, end of story. And awesome. I'm just kind of sad about that.
Yeah, but thank you for your call. I think we've got several calls on the line, but it was really nice to talk to you, and hopefully we'll have more data for you in the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Look
good
out
luck
for the
finding some productive, spicy calls.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your day. All right. Let's talk to... Simon in Germany. Is it pulling up? I don't think the button clicked. There we go. Simon, you are on the line. It sounds like you want to talk about trans kids and pronouns.
Like question about the LGBT community, trans kids and pronouns, okay? So
yeah, what's your question?
So the LGBT community, like, first let's make definitions if it's okay. What is a lesbian?
Are you asking? Yeah. So a lesbian is someone who is romantically attracted to people who identify as femme and who identify as femme themselves. Typically.
I would say it's not like that, because we said all the time it's same-sex attraction, the gay people, like same-sex attraction.
Okay, so what makes you the arbiter of what that term means? Why do we have to listen to your definition instead of like the general consensus?
The general consensus are same-sex attraction. Like, I know an educator, and
so words are descriptive, right?
Yeah.
They describe how we use a term. There are ways that languages change over time, right? And so while
Yes.
initially this may have been used to be same sex as referring to anatomy only, that's not really how we're using it anymore, because we understand now that relationships and sexual attraction go beyond biology. So that we've kind of updated our terminology to reflect the changes in usage, right? So that's how we would use it. Now we'd use it to encompass the whole feminine experience, which may include people's anatomy. It may also include their identity and their socialization, their interaction with the world around them, and their expression, etc. Those all factor into someone's experience of femininity. So I think we're more talking about this encompassing experience of attraction to femininity and someone who is a woman, with all of those factors in account, and not just limiting it to physical characteristics.
Yeah, and Simon, I also want to say this too, right? And just think about it, just like you in the world, right? You're walking around. Are you straight, or does it matter? Or it does? I guess it doesn't matter for this example. So you're attracted to somebody, or attracted to multiple people, and you walk through the world. Do you ask people, do they have a penis or vagina before you say you're attracted to them, or are you attracted to them because of the gender that they're expressing or the gender that they identify, right? Because if it was purely sexual, then you would be attracted to penises and vaginas and not to the people that are presenting that gender, right? Or that identity, or no, I guess that aura of their gender, right? Am I correct, or are you somebody who gives people a little crotch tap before you're like, I like you?
It has multiple factors. Like for myself, when I see sorry to formulate what I want to say. Like, for example, when I walk in my cafeteria and look around the people, I can pretty clearly say men and women pretty clearly. Like we once had last year one transsexual there, and it's still the characteristics in the sorry for not in the characteristics the sexes have certain characteristics that are expressed even if you're tall, white, thin, fat, and you can see these characteristics about that.
So my question is, are you attracted to people's gender, or are you attracted to their biological sex?
I'm attracted to their biological sex.
So you you just
so you're only yeah. So my question, I guess, is because you end up drawing a line here that ends up excluding a lot of the population, which it's okay if you have certain anatomical preferences, but if you're attracted to a woman, and let's say you are attracted specifically to women's breasts, and you had a woman that had breast cancer and had a mastectomy and didn't get a reconstruction for whatever reason, would that person not meet your definition of attraction anymore, even though simply because of their anatomy, or would you still consider them a woman in that situation for your attraction? I'm confused about where the line is drawn here.
Not really attracted, because my body rejects when something is not normal. Sadly, my neurotypical development of autism makes a blockage, because it doesn't make sense, and how to say it? I want to make it make sense, and when it doesn't make sense, I get some kind of blockage, but I don't know how.
Here, Simon. Let me help you,
Simon. Okay, so Simon, I'm going to ask you flatly. What type of people are you attracted to?
I'm bisexual.
Okay, so you're bisexual. Okay. All right. So my question is, okay, because you just complicated my whole thing. Okay. So like if you see somebody and they're attractive and you're attractive, let's say it's Arden or even Ben, right? Like, or myself, and you're like, oh, I'm attracted to these people, but you didn't know we were trans, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're a trans person, but you were already attracted to the femininity or the masculinity of the other person. Would you then reject that person? Or would you still be like, no, this is cool?
That's a tricky question. Like, I don't know. It depends on the person.
It does, right? It always depends
so you're
on the
attracted
person.
to the person.
That's what orientation and sexual attraction is, right? Like that's what it is. It's like your definition of what attracts you to people goes beyond the genitals, right? It's about the person, who the person is, what they identify as, and that's all part of the package, right? Whatever genitals that they have is kind of like the thing you find out later because it's very personal. You wouldn't go up to a random stranger and say, do you have a penis or a vagina? Because that would be very rude and very odd. So you would just start up a conversation with the pretty person that you're talking to, and then you'll just like have that conversation. And it's the same way for straight people and people who are gay. Like when you go to a bar and you see a pretty, let's say I'm attracted to a guy in this scenario, and I'm just like, hey, that guy is really cute, like it's really, really great and everything like that. And then I find out they're a trans man. I'm not gonna like be like, oh my gosh, you're not. No, I'm attracted to the masculinity, right? I'm attracted to the gender, not the sexual characteristics. Sometimes the secondary characteristics help. But was that?
And what's gender, by the way? Because I don't grasp the concept.
Yeah, so gender is a sociological concept of how you interact with society. So it's gender is something that like it's very hard to clearly define simply because it is fluid in itself, because there is no consistent way to do gender that is consistent across all of time and all of culture. So the way different cultures view different genders is kind of dependent on where you are and what the time is. So it sounds like a very cop-out answer, but the fact is, if I said I'm a man in ancient Egypt, that looks very differently in society than if I said I'm a man in 2023 Australia. These are very different concepts of how to do masculinity and how to be a man. And that's why I say do gender as opposed to necessarily have a gender, because this is distinct from your identity, which is your psychological thought process of who you are and your sense of self. So it's important that like when we're talking about things like this, that we're not necessarily conflating the sense of self with the way you interact with society. A lot of times these overlap, but this is why it gets kind of sticky. And I think Josie wanted to say something.
And the big thing to understand, Simon, is that gender and sex are different, right? So you don't have gender with somebody, you have sex with somebody, right? Because it's an act that is sexual and it's like connected to the body, right? But a person's gender, women and non-binary, they're separate, right? They're separate ideas, right? One is a social construction and how you're perceived. When you talked about the cafeteria, you said when you look across the room, you can generally see who are the men and who are the women, and then obviously the non-binary people in the space. When you see that is gender. You are looking at gender. You're not looking at sex. You're looking at a room full of people and you're seeing, okay, there are women over here, there are men over here, and there are people who are non-binary over there. Like you're able to see that. That's not sex, that's gender, right? What you're looking at in the society is gender. You're not looking at sex, right? For you to look at sex, everybody would have to.
There is no such thing as gender, sadly. We have only Geschlecht as a word.
Yeah, well, gender has been observed throughout history from the begining of time.
For example, like the two spirit people, right?
Yeah, there was always like society has always kind of chopped people up into different like categories of gender. In the Talmud, the Jewish society says there were 6 different genders. In Native American culture, they had 2-spirited people who they perceived was a third gender as well. Many other cultures throughout history has had a social construction for gender beyond sex.
Well, for example, the Jewish people, how did they know who to kill when they take virgin prisoners? For example,
I don't know about that.
Wow,
I don't
this
know
is
about that
okay.
history.
I
don't know
Simon,
about
I
that
think
history.
this argument is
Sorry.
this is not an honest argument on your part, and especially promoting
Sorry.
anything related to killing of war prisoners.
Sorry.
I don't want to go down this route, and I don't think
Okay.
you're. I don't know if you're honestly looking for an answer or if you're trying to troll us
Sorry.
with that. I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
this
wanna
is
troll
very
you.
productive of a conversation because I don't think you're really listening or following where we're trying to communicate with you. So maybe it's time to end this call and move on to the next one.
Wait, please, can I ask you something else if it's okay? Okay.
Against Ben's judgment, I will
make
allow
it quick. Make it quick because
okay.
Because I don't think we're making a lot of progress.
If gender is observed correctly.
If what?
Gender is observed. You said gender is observed. You said some.
Society kind of creates that, but people, basically. Mm-hmm.
But how, like in some patriarchal societies, how did they know who to press that lead?
That's why gender was such a big thing for a long time. It was because of hierarchies, because people like to categorize other humans, and people want to know how much social capital they have and who's in charge and who runs society. So they take any number of characteristics. Gender is one of these characteristics, where back in time they decided that differences in anatomy were something that should be a hierarchy, and we're going to arbitrarily decide that people with this body type are in charge of people with this body type, which is a terrible way of looking at it. But when you don't understand anything about anything, you go with what you can to make order of society. That's one category they made. They also started making age restrictions on things. There's reasons why adults are in charge of society and children aren't. That's a hierarchy that we established. There are many ways that society builds these hierarchies, and a lot of them are very arbitrary in how they came about. Because now we're finally evaluating, do these anatomical differences really mean anything for who should be in charge of society? No. There's no reason why someone with a penis should be in charge of society just because they have a penis. So the fact that you're going back to historical examples to say that, well, how would we know who to oppress? People will, if they want to oppress people, they will find a way to oppress people. It's not hard to find differences. And unfortunately, this is what leads to things like genocide, is when people make these determinations arbitrarily and then act on them. So that's why I want to be careful treading here, and why I didn't really take your other questions super seriously.
Yeah.
So
Simon, just understand that there's a difference between gender and sex, and that's the primary thing that we're trying to explain here. A person who is trans has a different identity than the sex that they were assigned at birth, or the gender that they were assigned at birth. That's all it is. Yeah. Right, it's not complicated, right? If you identify with the gender assigned male to you at birth, then you are not trans, right? But people who are trans actually have to understand the difference between gender and sex.
Anyway, I think it's time to move on to another call, but maybe we can try this again next week.
Yeah.
With
Thanks,
whoever's
Simon.
hosting.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in. Hopefully we can clear this up.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your day, Simon. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
All right.
Spicy.
We got some interesting topics today. Yeah, a few spicy calls today.
Yeah.
I want to try to. I know we got some people that have questions specifically for me, but while we're getting kind of closer to the end of the show, and while Josie's here, I want to make sure we get some questions that we can both take. So let's talk to Joel in Ontario. Joel, you're on the line. How can we help you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I'm calling. I'm a parent of one trans child and one non-binary child. But I grew up in a very religious household, and my parents, especially my father, was very very into like traditional gender roles and very anti-trans, and always spoke of trans people being wrong in some way. And while I completely support my daughter in her transitions, and have done so with all of my kids, and tried to be open with them about they can be whoever they want to be, there's still this like nagging idea in the back of my head that she is there's something wrong with her, that she is going through this because of a problem that needs to be fixed, and I don't know how to get rid of it.
No, thank you, Joel, for being a supportive parent, and don't feel guilty for having that feeling. That's the feeling of internalized transphobia that society gave to you, that your dad gave to you, and it is something that I, even as a trans woman that grew up in Texas in a religious household myself, even as a trans woman, is there something wrong with me? Is there something like, so those feelings are normal, unfortunately, right? However, there is nothing wrong with your child, and I'll give you some good news. The chances of your child sticking with her transition is 99%, more than 99%, right? Because people are very clear with their gender identities, and we have plenty of evidence to support this. So the likelihood that your child will go the other direction is actually extremely low. So that should give you a little confidence about the fact that this is the right path, and as long as you are doing what it sounds like through the medical interventions in the correct way with doctors and psychologists, that is going to ultimately give and lead statistically to better mental health outcomes for your child, right? And that is the most important part, right? So if you think about it in those terms, then nothing is wrong, right? If your child is thriving, right? If your child is happy, then there's nothing wrong. You are being a good parent. Like the opposite, if you were to take those things away from your child, then there would be something wrong, because then your child wouldn't be happy anymore, right? So
Right.
understand the idea that when you look at your child's happiness and thriving, that you're doing the right thing, your family's doing the right thing, and there's nothing wrong, and people can live absolutely fantastic lives as a trans person. People and trans people have succeeded on almost every stage of our lives at this point, and and it's only getting better and better as acceptance continues to rise. I hope that helped your thought. I don't know if Ben wants to add to that.
I'll let Joel jump in.
Oh, sure. I mean, I guess all I really needed was some encouragement. I don't get a lot of encouragement. Well, I don't get any encouragement from my family. I haven't talked to my dad all year. And it's not like something that's publicly known amongst like my friend group. So I don't know. I guess I just it's good to hear that. I didn't know about the statistic that like 99% of people who like transition or want to transition like go through with it and like stake with it. I was kind of curious about what that was, because I know my dad would always say things like and like if I talk to my dad about anybody who's transitioning, especially at a young age, he'll say like it's a phase, or it's, like you shouldn't do permanent changes because they'll want to go back or something like that. So hearing that that's like not a likely thing helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess from my experience, because I come from a very fundamentalist evangelical household, and like I'm very happy with my transition. I'm much happier as a person now, like since coming out to myself as trans. But like I think every trans person gets lingering thoughts in their mind of, am I really trans, or like, would I ever go back and change things? And the only reason that ever comes up for me is because of the fact that I know I've disappointed my family. Like, it's the social factors for a lot of us that give us those hesitations. And without that barrier at all, I probably wouldn't have any issues regretting any aspect of my transition. But because of the fact that I have that baggage, and I have the thoughts of, I have to confront my family about these things, and I know they're upset, they're not proud of me, and disagree with whatever my life choices, that makes it difficult for a lot of people. And so a lot of the people that we see detransitioning, the majority of them do so for societal reasons, and because they were either harassed, assaulted, or pressured in some way to stop being openly trans. And so the fact that you are giving your child the support is incredible, and that's going to set them up for success even more so, because that's going to decrease their risk of those reasons for detransitioning. And of course, there still is the small percentage of chance that they could change their mind, and that's a thing that happens for some people. A very small minority of people experience that. And as long as you can be supportive for whatever your child is thinking is the right thing for them, and you can help them talk to people that can give them the right resources and have some counseling, because I think counseling is great for everybody, no matter who you are, whether you're cis or trans, or having somebody to talk to and think through your life and who you are is important. But I think you're already in where you're at, you're setting your child up for success in that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And honestly, Joel, I think something else that you said that stuck with me is finding a support network of other parents out there could help as well. Because it can be incredibly lonely to be a supportive person, especially in certain parts of the country. For example, my father is a police officer in Texas, and and it was tough to get him to be like, yeah, this is the way it is. And I think there was a little bit of embarrassment there, right? But at the end of the day, now everything is fine, because time is the best I guess healer of all of this. But really find other people that can give you support, because you're not alone in this. There are thousands of parents out there right now dealing with this right now, right? And so I just want to say thank you for for who you are, and the love and care that you give your children, including giving the counseling, the medical, like the doctors, all of the things that are required. And I'll tell you, that chance of detransition goes down even more when you have those resources. Most people who do detransition are people who rush into it and then get things done really fast, and they're like, wait, I happened too quick. But most people who go through the process come out the other side completely happy and better.
Yeah, and I'm super proud of her too. She's really smart, and is really taking this sort of very seriously and at her own pace, and is very articulate about how she feels. So
wonderful. I heard a parent,
thank you for the encouragement.
Put it to me. Yeah, absolutely, Joel. And a parent told me once, and it was so beautiful. It's like, they were like, I'm so lucky to have a trans kid, because I get to raise a unicorn, and unicorns are beautiful and wonderful, and other people don't get to raise a unicorn. How cool is that? And that's how I think about it, Joel. You have something special that you can cherish, that you and your child share, that so many other parents don't have that trust built with their kids, because they don't have to go through things like this. So the connection that you're building with your child is one forged in love, and will be there for the test of time. And it means everything. And it makes me, every time I meet a trans parent, a parent of a trans kid, I almost want to cry every time, because it's just such a powerful thing. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about that. That was beautiful.
me too, a little. thank you for your support and everything you do. It's really, I think it's really making a difference. And I'll let you go ahead and get on to other callers.
Yeah, thank you, Joel.
Yeah, well, thank you for calling in. I hope that any of this helped, and feel free to call back in with any updates if you've got any.
Yeah.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day. All right, we got one more call, and then we will get into our super chat. So just a reminder to everybody out there that you still have time to vote for Team Ben or I guess you can vote for Team Josie too, because she's not here every week. But get your votes in, because super chats are going to start after this last call. But in the meantime, we have John from Washington. John, you're on the line. What is your question today?
Yes, I'm calling to ask because yesterday my child came out to me as trans in a letter, and I don't know, it's a lot. I had a lot of questions, and now I'm kind of nervous now that I'm on the line.
That's
No, thank you for
understandable.
calling. No, thank you for the courage. Continue.
So one of the main issues is that my son, his mother, we're not together, haven't been together for a long time, and she is very conservative, religious. So my son is being in the closet at home. Not to mention they live in a more conservative area than I do. So my son told me, yeah, most of his friends know, but the school, the area is being conservative. They're very in the closet, and I'm just looking for ways as I can help and things I can do, things I can tell them, just anything really.
First and foremost, safety is paramount. Right. I always say this, even like especially when I'm talking to people who are still living with family that support them. Taking the steps of making sure safety is number one. Right. We don't want your child to experience any type of bodily danger for that. So I appreciate the care that you're taking with this, because it is a serious issue right now across this country. So going back now to what you were saying, there's a lot of tricky things about this, because children actually have medical consent in certain situations, and also it depends on how old they are. And are you not near them? Are you in another state?
I'm in a different state.
Okay, you're in another state. Okay. I guess for more context, are they young? Have they started puberty yet, or have they already started
16.
puberty? 16. Okay, so they're at that time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So John, not John, sorry, Dr. Ben, you're the medical person here. What do you know how these things go when it comes to like this particular situation? When you have parents
this gets
consenting?
a little bit sticky, because technically as a minor, parents make the majority of medical decisions, but 16 is actually a good age where they might be able to get more consent for themselves. For example, most states already allow for adolescents to get STI testing without parental consent, so that they can get tested and not have to disclose that to their family. They already have autonomy when it comes to their own pregnancies. So a teenager that gets pregnant has full medical consent capabilities for that baby. So there are ways that adolescents can consent to their own healthcare. In terms of when is an adolescent old enough to consent to other things is kind of state by state, and you'd have to look up the state that they're in and what they are and are not able to consent to. Sometimes they can go through a process to determine decision-making capacity for these adolescents, but again, that's a state regulated thing. So I would recommend, like, if you have a pediatrician or an adolescent medicine specialist in a certain area of the country that we're talking about, or even a child and adolescent psychiatrist in the area that would know that state's regulations, it would be good to get in contact with one that is affirming and supportive, that could help with that kind of process, figure out what needs to be done to get that autonomy established.
Yeah, and I want to also add too, is those resources are really important, right? So I would try to call maybe the local LGBTQ center where your child lives, get in contact with them and talk to somebody. Usually there's caseworkers there that are actually trained in social work to be able to figure out how to actually serve your child's needs. And I would start there too, because this is happening all over the country, and there are trained professionals in the community that probably already know what steps to take. So I would start calling that LGBTQ center and then seeing what resources they have to go, and then just start going down the tree of contacts that they suggest for you. That's what I usually recommend to most parents that are going through this for the first time. And especially since your situation is sticky, you may need to get some type of legal support as well. And usually that LGBTQ center can also help you with that as well. And the thing about the local LGBTQ center, they're also going to care about the safety of your child, which is also another thing. And that's why it's important to have these trained professionals that are trained in the queer space, especially when you're talking about adolescents and people who are dealing with that. So that's what I would recommend. But just think about the fact that there's a couple avenues. There's the caseworker side of it with the relationship between your child and the other parent. There's the medical side of it about the needs that your child actually has, and then there's the legal side of it of how are they going to be able to have access legally to the things that they need. And because it has those three layers of complexity, you're going to need to find somebody who is trained locally in the area of where your child resides.
Yeah, and with that, like I just want to emphasize how amazing social workers are. Like, they do not get enough credit for the magic that they do. Like, if anybody, I mean, there are plenty of people in society that are wizards, but like social workers are absolutely wizards. And I highly recommend getting one on your case if you're able to, because that's a resource that will be completely invaluable for the rest of how this turns out. So,
and I also say this: most social worker, most child protective services, even in places like Texas, where they try to say it's child abuse, are not in favor of discriminating against kids. A lot of times, these laws that are put on to these social workers are not by their consent, so you'll usually find somebody pretty friendly pretty easily too. So that's also on your side, because most people actually want to support trans people. It's only the extreme that want us gone.
Okay. Thank you. I wrote some of that down, and I could always watch the video again. My only other question, I don't even know if you can help with this, is for me, there's a lot of fear because of, like you said, the extremists, and we've both lived a life as, people of color. There's things that make that hard, and now this on top of it. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but I have a lot of fear for my kid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And no, I know it makes sense, and I really appreciate you sharing, because it's true. There is a lot of fear there, and especially, I'm a trans woman of color myself, and even now as a 37, I wish I was 34 now, but at 37 now, I still get a lot of hate and things of that nature toward me. But I really want to give you a little sprig of hope here. It is getting better, and the people who actually serve children, the people who actually serve families, the people who actually serve patients are on our side. And the people that are going to be standing in your way are people who shouldn't even be involved with your family's needs. So at the end of the day, luckily, you're going to have people who are there to support you, and you have the ability to pick and choose who those people are when it comes to the private ingoings of your family. And I will just say this as well: kids are resilient, they're incredible, and as long as you are there supporting your child, as long as you responded to your child and had that conversation saying I support you, that alone, that one act alone of acceptance of your child will greatly increase the mental outcome of your child, including ideation, right? So you being there in their corner makes it possible for them to continue on and fight this fight with you. As long as they know you're in their corner, everything's going to be okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys for what you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No, thank you for your
thank you for
support.
calling in. Yeah,
All right,
please
I'll let y'all go.
feel free to call back and update us and ask any more questions. We're happy to help you as much as we can. I know we can't physically be there with you like on the front lines here, but I wish the best for you and your family, and I hope that some of these resources are helpful.
Yes, me too. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day, John. All right, that was kind of a heavy last call of the show.
Yeah, those last two calls though, parents, these parents coming in strong for their kids. I mean, gosh, that's so great to see. It makes me so happy to know that there are people out there standing for their kids in such powerful ways.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of negative things going on right now, but it's good to see some hope in all of it. And these two parents that we talked to are doing some great work, and we've got two kids that are hopefully going to have a significantly better experience than a lot of the kids right now. So at least a few lives are being impacted in some very positive ways.
Yeah.
So let's how are you feeling for some super chats? We got to think of a punishment for next time. I know the current ones that we have coming up are Arden and I will have to paint a portrait of each other, like on a canvas.
That's
and then
fun.
Katy has to, when I go to England in a few weeks, Katy has to play the saxophone. So we can do something similarly ridiculous.
No, I like the creative stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. What kind of creative hobby do you have that might be interesting to make me do?
Oh my gosh. To make you do? I mean, artistry's fun, but you're already doing that. Like as far as like painting and drawing.
Well, I can do a different type of art or something.
You could. Oh man. Why don't we write a story?
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, like a 1-page story about something ridiculous.
Like a fan fiction. You have to write a fan fiction about the other person.
Yes.
I love this. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So everyone, you got to get your super chats in. You have to vote for Team Josie or Team Ben. If you vote for a vote for Team Ben is to have Josie write the story about Ben, and a vote for Josie is to have Ben write the story about Josie. So here we go. And if we get to 50, we have to get to 25 total to have anyone write the story. But if we get to 50, we both have to write it. Let's get some fan fiction. I guess I'll start reading this one. $5 from James Call. Dr. Ben, last week I proposed a battle between Pebbles and Poppy. I meant a cuteness vote battle. I would never put a cat versus a hamster. Well, thank you for clarifying, because it sounded like you wanted Poppy to eat my hamster. But I appreciate that this is a cuteness battle. It's more tolerable. Thank you, James.
$10 from the Velveteen Rabbit. Sadly, I always work during TACIS. I, 28, got the privilege of knowing I have a sister, 15.75. 15 and 3/4, got it. This weekend. She is not out to the family yet. What support or resources do you wish you had at that age? Do you want to go after that one first?
Because I didn't come out until much later. But resources, I think, listen back to some of the calls. I know this super chat probably came in before the calls, but definitely what we said about an LGBTQ center and having resources to make sure that they're going to be safe. And also because at that age, especially if they're financially dependent on family, that makes safety even more of a priority, and they may need some escape plans. So it's important, like before your sister comes out to family, that you have that plan in place in case like the worst happens. So that's kind of what I'd recommend.
Yeah, I would say, like, if I were to put myself, because I knew I was a girl at 8, but I didn't come out till 34. I wish I had more trans friends, like, talking about
Yes.
community and like interacting with the LGBTQ center. Like a lot of times the local LGBTQ center actually has like events where like trans youth can actually meet and mingle. I wish I had that. Like if I had like one trans friend, I probably would have been like, oh, this is okay, I can do this. But that's always also supportive if I were to do it all over again.
Yeah, thank you for your super chat, Velveteen Rabbit. $5 from Melissa. This show is brought to you today by the letters F, U, G, and C, and made possible by contributions from viewers like you. Hashtag Go Navy. Hashtag Reactor Department. RC Div. Yeah, because you two had the same experience. So that's a vote for Josie.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
We're both Navy.
You can also,
Same job.
You can also go Army versus Navy today. $20 from Matt Dillahunty, and I'm guessing he's very pro Navy as well because he is former Navy. Lots of Navy people here. Had the first super chat to congratulate Ben and fucked it up. Now I have to be hashtag Team Ben. Okay.
Okay.
I will accept your mistake, Matt, because it benefits me. If your mistake didn't benefit me, then I wouldn't accept it. But that's how it works here.
$10 from Jason Jones. Go Navy. Crypto. A.01 proud to fail in pursuit. And Dr. F and Ben, while I'm cat dad now, I periodically raise some happy ratties, okay, and hamsters. Was McCoy your favorite Trek character too?
I'm actually not a huge Trekkie, and I feel bad now because I finally had a friend that raised rats and hamsters and is like, and now I'm betraying you with my not being a Trekkie. But maybe I should actually go watch it and then tell you who my favorite character is.
Honestly, I should do the same. And honestly, does hashtag Go Navies go my way? Is that how we're doing
Yeah,
this?
that's you.
Like,
yeah.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, so you get that vote.
Yeah.
I'd be fine writing some Josie fan fiction. I need to get to know Josie a little bit better before I, write the fan fiction. So maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll have to talk
we could definitely
more,
talk about it. Yeah, we have to chat. I mean, like you're literally coming to my area soon, like physically. That's great.
This is true. We're about to be besties. $9.99 from Jason Friedman. Hashtag Team Ben. Super proud of you. Constantly humbled by the trans folks in my life. Blown away with y'all's bravery and commitment to living your most honest lives. Thank you, Jason. And thank you for the hashtag Team Ben. Honestly, like I'm not that brave. I just exist.
Doctors are brave. Doctors are brave.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna say it right now. You putting your life, putting your hands in the life, or putting somebody's life in your hands. Ultimate bravery. I don't even have that level of bravery.
Oh shucks.
$10 from Madison. Congrats on your top surgery, Ben. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben.
Thank you, Madison. And that's why, like, anytime you see my arms, I cannot lift them. So, like, I'm not allowed to. So that's why you get weird T-Rex arms from me for the next few weeks. Thank you, Madison. 10 pounds from Faye. Nice to see you again, Josie. Good luck with the recovery. Hashtag Dr. Ben. Here's some money to pay for an AI to do production so you can fire Jimmy. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. So thank you for the vote. And go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Jimmy has been very quiet today. Yeah. Which makes me feel a little bit bad that we're telling him to go fuck himself. But that's what we say. So go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Hey, I think he likes it. That's what I hear. $10 from Jason Jones. Hashtag Team Dr. F and Ben. Jimmy, go fuck yourself. But save some for me, you cuddly, snuggly hobbit. Hi, Josie. Hi, Jason.
Oh, Jason wants to cuddle with Jimmy. Y'all can have your fun. Thank you, Jason. £5 from Sean Isherwood. I tried calling in, but it cut off. I asked my GP for a referral to a GIC, but got declined because I see a psychiatrist for schizophrenia. Any advice? That's very difficult because, number one, I don't know the UK health system very well. But sometimes if you have an allied, at least in the US, if you have an allied psychiatrist, they can write a letter or something that says that your schizophrenia does not interfere with your treatment for gender dysphoria. So if you can have a good psychiatrist, like I hope your psychiatrist that you currently see is good for things like that, but maybe you can get a letter from them that essentially gives you permission, which it sucks that you even have to do that, but hopefully they can accommodate that for you.
Remind us what the punishment is. What are the stakes?
Oh, the punishment is we have to write fan fiction about each other, a 1-page fan fiction.
Yes.
What's the
and
nature
we have to
of
read
this
it
fan
on
fiction?
air.
Oh yeah, what is the nature of the fanfic? Can it be like how?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna read it on the transatlantic, then maybe it needs to be somewhat like
maybe a little bit smutty, like not too
little
smutty,
bit.
just like moderately smutty.
Yeah.
Hang on,
I think Jimmy just wants us to write some smut about him.
Y'all keep doing these chats. I'm gonna pull out my laptop and get ChatGPT to make this idea not suck.
Oh yes, do it.
Okay.
Get a better prompt for the two of you, because this so far this is some weak ass sauce. This is weaker than that vegan cheese sauce Josie forgot to grab.
Wow. You know what? I'm not doing it until Arden's here.
That's right.
Yeah, fine. Give us a prompt, but we have to use each other in the story. But also, I think maybe there should be some increased stakes for, like, if we get 50, then we have to write the fan fiction about Jimmy. That would be hilarious. If we have to write smutty fan fiction about Jimmy,
Yes.
You know, whatever you want. Okay. So wait, what was I saying? So right now, if somebody loses, the other person is the subject. And then I would say then if we hit 50, you both have to write one, including the other person and Jimmy. Because we don't want
Jimmy,
the people who are voting right now because they want to hear Ben tell a story about Josie. We shouldn't take that away if we get to 50 points. So we add Jimmy into the story.
We just add Jimmy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I was like, I figured Jimmy doesn't care.
Oh, I don't care. People have asked me whether they can write like erotic fiction about me, and I was like, yeah, don't send it to me, but I don't give a fuck.
I'm gonna write some erotic Jimmy fan fiction and read it on deck.
Just read it.
Only if we lose.
$20 Canadian from Kathleen Moncrief. This house full of family doctors and pet rodents is Team Doctor #Ben.
Hell yeah. See, family doctors all stick together. And,
that's true.
I love that we have pet rodents too. We're like basically, we've got a lot in common, Kathleen. But yeah, thank you for the vote and for the generous donation.
Is it called a prompt, a writing prompt? That's what it's called, right? Is what we're trying to figure out. Is the okay?
Yes.
Just double checking.
Yes.
Yeah, make it a hilarious prompt. $5 from Worthless Protoplasm PhD. I love this name. This is a fantastic name.
It's a good
Do
name.
you think cis people are adopting the pronouns it's they, them for purposes of increasing acceptance and solidarity? Is acceptable or worthwhile? I think this can be kind of sticky. I like for cis people specifically, I don't think it should be used. I know there are some trans people that use them and prefer using them, but like since that specifically is seen as a slur by a lot of people, I don't think cis people should be voluntarily using that like for themselves, even if it's to make social change for the better, because I think that's not really a good way to go about it. They, them, I could see being more okay because that is more generally accepted and not used as a slur. So if you wanted to do that, like probably stick with they, them and not it's.
Yeah, this has caused a little bit of controversy, though most people seem to line up with our thinking here. But we actually don't allow people to use it/its pronouns when calling in, and the reason is that is a reclaiming of a slur that on our end, because this isn't like a 100% trans show. The screeners, people, basically like with intentions not necessarily being clear. It isn't appropriate to ask. It kind of be like reclaiming a slur with people from the outside. Like if I called into somebody's show and I'm a queer man and I said, I want you to put the name tag Mr. F slur because I'm reclaiming the F slur on. Meanwhile, this is I'm calling into a show with a straight person and stuff. It's basically, as far as reclaiming a slur goes, asking us who aren't trans to participate in helping reclaim it isn't how reclaiming slurs works. So
I am going to disagree, but we don't have to go further. I as somebody who is like, I was originally triggered by the its pronouns and was a little bit on the fence of like, I don't know if I want to use it against somebody else because it triggers me. That was something that I felt was not fair to the person that's reclaiming it, right? The person that's reclaiming it is trying to normalize it for themselves to make it not a slur. So if somebody asks, it is fine. It's not like the F slur is different, right? Because the F slur is a word that's specific in that way, but like it's still a pronoun. So if somebody
I still disagree.
Wants to do that.
And for the record, I'm not just trying to disagree as the cis person against the trans person. This was a decision made as a group and definitely spoke to a lot of people about it. The thing is this show would be the show it would be the least conspicuous on. If you are watching a clip, for example, of Matt and I taking a call and you see a name with it's next to it, and that's for example, even your introduction to the channel, the inability to understand whether or not we are participating in the slur as a slur or the slur as a reclaiming of the slur is not one that is basically, it's too ripe for misunderstanding. And again, like when you say like, I can fully say that my sexual, in fact, I do say it to like friends and stuff when they're like, what is your sexual orientation? I'll use the F slur to refer to myself, but I'm not going to ask straight people to then use it in the same way. In fact, I'm quite off put by when they do. There's no other example of slur reclaiming, including asking people who are not a member of the group that I know of, that are not a member of the group, to also use that as that previously as a slur. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that a pronoun is different from a name, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But I mean, whether it is or not, we're still just talking about a slur versus not a slur. And the fact is that the transgender community at large hasn't decided that it should be reclaimed. I see trans people argue about whether or not that should be bringing its way back because of the whole concept of that's still a slur for. It was a slur to basically call people an object instead of a person, to dehumanize.
Unless the person wants that. You're taking the person's ability to choose that.
To identify as something not human?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then
you're taking their ability to be perceived by the world that way. Because of your own comfortability. Right.
Right. And so would you at least concede then we're not talking about gender, we're talking about humanism at that point? Or
no, because it is not a gender, it's a pronoun. There's a difference.
Right. We're not representing a gender identity, we're representing
pronouns are genders.
That's what I say. I just said, so you agree we're not talking about that, we're talking about humanization, and you said no, and then agreed with me.
I want to watch this
debate. Your agreement with no.
I'm good at this debate because I came from the other position. But
you said no and then agreed with me. That's not good at it.
What do you mean? What do you mean no and agreed with me? I said that it's right. Yes,
isn't referring to a gender identity. It's referring to a state of humanization.
To a pronoun. No, it's stating a pronoun. It's a pronoun.
And what does the pronoun represent?
Anything. The pronoun represents what that person's want is. Their preference.
And what's... I think you're being pedantic. Okay, let's do it another day.
I'm not.
I think you're definitely being pedantic.
Yeah, this should be.
It's like super pedantic. Okay.
Pronouns are not gender.
Anyway, we aren't.
All right, next one.
Until there's consensus, we're not going to ask cis people to participate in taking back a slur that isn't theirs to take back. Basically,
I think the uncomfortable Jimmy, how you're feeling uncomfortable about it is exactly why people are reclaiming it.
I don't feel remotely uncomfortable. What do you mean?
Oh yeah. No, it's okay. We're good.
The only discomfort is the perception of a debate between a cis person talking to a trans person about which pronouns are inappropriate, because perception in that scenario would matter more than the actual arguments at hand, and that's what I care about. But the actual argument, I feel no discomfort. Anyway,
I love you, Jimmy.
You say that.
I do.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
$5 from Mike B. Mazel Tov, Dr. Venus, hashtag Team Josie, LOL. Yeah, there's a fun little trend where they'll congratulate me and then vote for the other person. So,
yeah, I like that trend.
Yeah, I know. It's it's fine. It's fine. Give it to Josie. Josie needs some love, everybody.
I do.
Give Josie some love.
I'm love starved.
We're still well behind getting to 25
Jimmy, so...
points. We're still well behind getting to 25 points.
Yep.
So just so people know, we need more votes in.
Yeah, get your votes in or no fan fiction.
It was actually really.
Oh, my partner's talking now.
A lot of people.
$5 from Worthless Protoplasm PhD, hashtag Team Josie. I want to see Dr. Ben's fanfic authoring skills. Josie, this is my first time seeing you on Transatlantic Call-In Show. You're lovely. Oh, thank you. You're great too.
She really is. I like keeping Josie around here.
Yeah.
$10 from DJX, hashtag Team Ben. Thank you for what you all do. Thank you for the $10, DJX, and thank you for the vote to the objectively correct team here, which is Team Ben.
10 euros from Thomas Donald Jacobs, Finlay Games, an awesome British trans man. Was on Naked Education talking to younger trans guy. You can see it on YouTube. Give him some love. At the GCs are after him. Team T-Rex Ben. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
I love it. It's Team T-Rex now because I can't move my arms.
Yes, it's good.
It. That's hilarious. But yeah, I haven't seen that. But I'll look into it. Love to support other trans people, especially if they're getting dogpiled, because that's demoralizing.
Yeah, it is.
$9.99 from ER, and there's no text, but thank you for your support. Oh, the message didn't add hashtag Team Ben the Lemon King. There we go. Yeah, because a while back I had to eat a lemon like an apple, and because that was my punishment. And Katie was so convinced I was gonna vomit. And I just like ate it.
It's not a problem. I could do it.
It's not that bad. It's like the peel really isn't that terrible. Like,
oh, you ate the peel? Never mind. I take it back.
I had to eat the whole peel. Yeah, no, I had to eat the whole thing, but it wasn't too bad. But so now I'm the Lemon King.
Nice. $4.99 from Seven Lions. Thank you both for sharing your experiences with surgeries. Planning to get gender confirmation surgery soon, and it helps to know that the rate is low. Hashtag Team Josie. Thank you so much, and good luck with your surgery.
Yeah, good luck.
It's the best.
$5 from Mike B. I'm a little sad that Go Fuck Yourself Jimmy replaced FBMB, but there's no centralized Bureau of English. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Hashtag Josie.
I mean, for the record, nobody really used FBMB except on Matt's show because it was Matt's specific thing.
Yeah, it's his thing.
Now, granted, there are some GFYs going now on Matt's show, but I'd hardly say it's a replacement. It's more of I'm on more shows, so you see it more often. And it's just fun. It's like a fun little thing.
It's a fun little thing to say, go fuck yourself, Jimmy. I mean, it is fun. Is it as fun for you as it is for everybody else? That's the real question.
The silence is deafening.
I wasn't listening. I'm working on other stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, that was just his heart shattering across the ground.
Yeah,
Legitimately, I'm putting these prompts together. I have no idea what was said.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. $5 from Panda. I really hope we hit 50, but in case we don't, hashtag Team Ben, and it's always nice to see Josie back. Well, it's nice to see you, Panda.
Nice to see you, Panda. Thank you for the vote. We'd still need quite a few more to get to the fan fiction. Hopefully, got more people submitting their super chats. And we had a poll. I think the poll completed for the vote.
I know it looks like it's the same one, but actually Panda sent the same one twice, so I guess you have to read it a second time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Ouch.
$5 from Panda. I really hope we hit 50, but in case we don't, hashtag Team Ben. You know, I'm fine with this because we just get 2 Team Bens. And a vote closer to the fanfic. So thank you, Panda.
So right now we need at least a couple more votes to hit somebody losing. I do have a couple of prompts here. This would be if we hit the 50 points. These would be the three prompts that the two of them could pick between. The first one would be, in a world where snowball fights are a serious sport, a plucky transgender protagonist must train an inexperienced team of misfits to win the championship and defeat reigning snowball champion, the sinister Jimmy Snow.
Oh my God.
That's the first one. Second one would be, a transgender protagonist must navigate a bizarre frozen labyrinth created by villainous Jimmy Snow. Along the way, they encounter talking snowmen, ice skating penguins, and other comical obstacles in their defense to defeat their icy foe. I have to answer a call that's coming in, so just vamp. I'll put up another super chat.
That sounds
Okay,
like a good D&D campaign. Like that's like what I would run for a one shot. Yeah, it's like
maybe that should be a future punishment is we run a one shot using
just run a one shot
prompt. Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic. I love that.
That would be great.
So the fun things, like since we have to vamp for a minute.
That's right. We had the vamp.
Just the fun sharing my experience of being post-op surgery with the whole like random like nerve pain that you just get, and like the feeling that your skin is just like stretching over the front of you, and it's a weird time, and it's just itchy.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm excited for that
itchiness is annoying. I hate the itchiness.
I have a third one
down there. Oh.
I have a third one, but where did it go? Shit.
Yeah, Jimmy, these should be D&D campaigns.
Yeah, this is the D&D campaign one shot, is what you just read.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, yeah, they're just they're fun. Why can't I? Did I close it? Come back. Okay, here it is. And then here's the third one. But remember, this needs 50 points to get to. This is the one. We'll come up with new prompts if we don't hit 50. And right now we're not. We're maybe going to pass 25. Close. So we need lots more votes if you want this. The third one to choose from would be, after Jimmy Snow turns the local talent show into a chilly disaster. They really just wants Snow to be some sort of like fantasy ice villain. But anyway, into a chilly disaster, a resilient transgender protagonist must rally their fellow performers to stage a hilarious and heartwarming comeback, melting the audience hearts and foiling Snow's plans. These are the three prompts that they have to write short stories about one of the three if we get to 50 points on... Yeah, y'all. So
I love it. I love it.
This is hilarious. I love it. I love it so much.
All right, $5 from James Call. I also suggest a Michael Shea versus Colin Jost joke writing contest. I usually vote for Ben because of my love for Mayo, but today, hashtag Team Josie. Oh, thank you, James. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Even though we voted for Josie, thank you. Yeah, I guess they're referencing the Saturday Night Live joke thing.
Yeah. So the thing is, No, because the whole thing they do is basically write jokes that are really offensive for each other to read. And the part of the internet that then still gets bothered by it is not absent from many of our chats. And we're not going to deal with the drama and the fallout. We're going to miss that bullshit. So, I mean, literally earlier while Josie and I was talking, somebody complained that I was cis-splaining. So yeah, the concept of people taking nuance where nuance exists and actually respecting that, nah, we ain't going to do that one. But it's a nice, a nice suggestion. People are too whiny, and that's why we're not gonna. And that's coming from me, like a really fucking gross leftist SJW soy boy, like
super soy,
so soy.
$5 from RPG Debunks. Congrats, Ben. Hashtag Operation Boobus Removus was a stellar success. Initiate recovery.exe. Hashtag Team Boob. Oh, and kindly go fuck yourself, Jimmy. I guess, would that be a vote for Josie then? Because I don't have
I know.
anymore.
Yeah,
I'm Team
confused.
Boob.
I feel like the first hashtag.
I think it has to go to Josie because.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because the first hashtag is for me, because Boobus Removus is for me, and then Team Boob is for Josie. So this is a fence sitter.
RPG,
which is fine.
If you specify in the chat quickly, I'll give your point to someone, but you gotta, do it quickly.
$4.99 from Coffee Mom. Superhero fanfic. Make Jimmy have a superpower like Lath's abilities. To hashtag Team Dr. Ben. Seriously, congrats.
Thank you, Coffee Mom. And apparently Jimmy has ice abilities.
I already have lathe abilities. I have a lathe.
Yeah,
You've
that's
all
not
seen my
super.
Christmas trees. What are you talking about? The joke, Josie might not know about my Christmas trees.
I don't know about anything about those things.
They're butt plugs. They're butt plugs.
Oh,
marketed as holiday trees.
Okay.
We got 50 Swedish kroner from Puck Tholander. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben. Love Josie. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. I love this trio of love and not love that we have going on here, Jimmy.
RPG Debunk says the vote was for Ben, so I'm gonna.
Okay.
There you go.
Getting blown out.
Sorry, Josie.
I know, it happens. Home field advantage. I understand it's a thing. I usually come into these things knowing I'm going to lose and wondering what I'm going to do to atone for my guestship here. $5 from Nathan Ardent. Forgot to congratulate Dr. Ben last week. Congratulations. Hashtag Team Josie.
Yes. Josie worked very hard for that medical degree that she doesn't have. No, thank you for the congrats. No, it's okay. Give Josie the vote. $5 from Dylan Fuller. Pronouns don't always denote gender. He, him, lesbians, as an X. Ben, anything about your surgery that you didn't expect? Hashtag Team Ben, hoping for my turn soon. The biggest thing that I didn't expect, was this emotional roller coaster. Because even if, you're very confident you want to do it, even if the results are absolutely perfect, like what you always imagined, it's still an emotional roller coaster, and it's going to suck. So, I didn't expect it to physically be not as bad. I thought it was physically going to be worse and emotionally a cakewalk, but it was the opposite for me. So just be flexible and don't try to have set expectations before you go into it, other than expect it to be terrible, and then maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. So
I'd like to point out that no one ever made the case that pronouns always denote gender, but I know that the whole reason Dylan did this is because Dylan's a chaos agent and wanted the argument to continue.
Yeah. This is true. This is true.
€5 from Sunbay666, hashtag Team Ben, short and sweet.
Love it. And I love the vote. Thank you. Thank you for your vote. $5 from Worthless Protoplasm, PhD. Congratulations on removing both your boobs and the student from your handle, Dr. Ben. Also, go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Hashtag Team Josie. That was, thank you. I mean, you're congratulating all of us. And again, I'm still curious about if Jimmy likes us all saying "go fuck yourself." Is this like I'm curious about Jimmy's thoughts on the "go fuck yourself," Jimmy?
It was my idea. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, I know, but like, do you get like some nice satisfaction of hearing that? Like, does it give you euphoria when you hear "go fuck yourself"?
I'll be honest. I'll be 1000% honest, but it's probably a bad marketing idea to be honest about it. I genuinely don't enjoy compliments, and so for someone to like mask a compliment with "go fuck yourself" is preferable. But more than that, the reason why I like it is that I live, breathe, sweat, and cry daily over the line and the success of the line, and we have giant goals and ambitions for the line. And the fact of the matter is that "go fuck yourself, Jimmy," the opportunity to say that has increased revenue by some amount of money. And so I love it. It's like, do you know how expensive the next year is going to be for us to, not for me to get rich, for us to succeed at all of the crazy ambitious. We're trying to have a convention. We're trying to open a community center. We want to launch like 8 new shows. Like fucking the shit's expensive. So yes, keep paying to tell me to go fuck myself. Like, I'm in.
Well, there's our answer. There is our answer.
You're doing such a good job, Jimmy. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Thank you. Give me money for saying it, though.
Yeah, you're going to get a bill in the mail.
That's right. You're getting your invoice for how many "go fuck yourselves" you said.
Right. $4.99 from Stacy 1904. Great show today, as always. Love to see Josie, but I have to vote for the best new doctor, Dr. Ben. Hashtag Dr. Venus. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Thank you, Stacy.
It suddenly
good to see
started
you here.
hurting.
Always.
Oh God. Sorry, I just thought that'd be funny.
$49.99. Wow. Thank you from I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Roshina Keller.
Roshina?
If I'm remembering this
Roshina
right.
Keller.
It actually might even be Roshana, but I think it's Roshina.
I saw you. I saw a tweet in my For You stream, and I thought it was Ben based on the avatar, but then I read the name and it wasn't Ben. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben. Well, I have a doppelganger somewhere, so I guess that's cool.
I've done this in the past. We'll say from here forward, $50 is worth 5 points. $20 is worth 3. We'll say 3 for 20, and 50 gets 5 votes. We've done this in the past because I kind of want the thing to happen. Though this looks very sad. Look at my God. Now it looks like, because of this new point system, it looks like Ben has tripled Josie's.
Okay.
We need some votes for Josie. Come on, y'all. Let's break 50 also.
It's all right. It's just the patriarchy. I can't fight it.
You should stop trying.
It is. That's exactly what this is. It's the patriarchy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ben, you were just talking about how much you liked Steven Crowder.
What?
I'm just kidding.
What?
$5 from, we are the patriarchy.
Yeah, patriarchy. The patriarchy. Yeah. $5 from James Call. See how they quickly move from boob to non-boob jokes. This premise could work. Hashtag Josie, go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
I find it even better that people have figured out they can just add the letter J. It used to be GFY Jimmy, but now it's just GFYJ. That's funnier to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And with the whole patriarchy thing, Jimmy got a lovely picture of me recently that looks like I'm a cishet white man from the far right, and it's pretty hilarious.
It is pretty good.
It's funny.
We can forward it to Josie, but we're not going to show anybody yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, the reveal is later, but it's funny.
$5 from Larry Fishman. How about the Game of Thrones fanfic where Jimmy Snow is the evil bastard usurper in the North and the winner must defeat him? Hashtag Team Josie. Yes. I'm actually rewatching Game of Thrones right now because Dilation takes a ton of time. So I just like watch something and it's so heartbreaking when you watch it again. It's like the first seasons are so good, but you know what's coming at the end. And I'm just like, why?
I actually think in my recent rewatch, I kind of got over that. I was kind of like, you know what? I already know where it's going. And so this whole expectation of it's going to be the story I want it to be, I don't know. I kind of
that's fair. I do pay attention more to the dialogue. I pay attention a lot more to the dialogue now than I did before.
I kind of I liked it more now with the expectation of it letting me down, I guess, because there's just something nice about like, oh, well, there's actually still a lot of good stuff in this garbage.
Yeah, it really is.
Anyway, I'm cisplaining again.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Sorry.
$5 Australian from Jackie Andronikos. Congrats on the surgery, Ben. Just work up, so I'll watch back soon. Hope it all went well. Also love the random story / power talk. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben. Well, we're somebody's writing a fanfic. And we'll see how many people have to write a fanfic.
You know. Honestly, you're recovering from surgery. You just got you just finished med school. Like, this is all well deserved. This is just you're just getting just praise from all these wonderful humans.
I mean,
at least that's
now
what I
would be the time. Now would be the time for me to write fanfic because I actually have a lot of downtime to do that because I can't really go anywhere post-op right now, at least. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have to.
I'd like to cut in to complain about something. I'm trying to forward this message to Josie, this photo from the Twitter group chat that we're in to Josie. But the problem is that they don't have just a simple forwarding function. So you have to go around it. And I tried to do it from PC first. And so when you go to PC, I tried to save it to my computer and then send it back to Twitter. Whenever you try to save a Twitter photo, it always says some stupid format called JPEG_medium or JPEG_large.
Oh,
that you can't really just use with other stuff without modifying it. And by the way, it's such an arbitrary, just such a made up format that you then can't upload it to Twitter. You can download it from Twitter as JPEG_large, but you can't then send it to someone on Twitter as a photo. It goes, oh, I don't know what this file type is.
That's weird.
It's fucking so stupid.
Yeah, Twitter's so weird.
Yeah. And it's, for some reason, I don't know what happened a few months ago, but it's just getting worse.
I mean, you're the one that pays for it, Jimmy. You should love it.
You're the one who uses it. You should love it. I think this is the stupidest argument people make. I've been using Twitter Blue since way before Elon to reduce the number of ads, mostly because I'm a creator and I have to use it for stuff. I'm not as much lately, but I will be again. And then people will be like, oh my God, how could you support this? It's like, okay, so I pay the money to reduce my number of ads. Elon gets money because you just see the ads. You're giving him money too. It's just different. So it's the
principle.
And your principle is arbitrary. Jimmy. I am only willing to support this fascist and his fascist platform up to giving him money this way. But the way you give this fascist money is unacceptable. Just ridiculous. It's such an arbitrary, silly line.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like you need that to be true.
Or do you need your position to be true? Mine's consistent. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, that's probably fair. Why the thing got hacked. Did we read this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we just read this one.
You heard it here first. I'm declaring that Elon is who hacked the YouTube channel last week.
Oh, for sure. That's probably it.
It was definitely Elon.
$5 from Dylan Fuller. It's more because I'm also considering it's, but I don't know how to explain it to cis-binary trans folks that my gender doesn't feel human, even though I know I am. LOL. Thank you, Dylan, for saying that.
Dylan didn't vote.
Dylan, you didn't
We're gonna
vote.
miss the 50 by 1 point.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. We're still way off.
I was like, it'd make a more interesting story though if we said that.
Yeah, we need
All
at
right,
least 15 more
$5.
votes to break 50. So
Yeah.
if you all want to get them in now. $20 will
now.
get you 3 votes. $50 will get you 5 votes. Otherwise, you can do individually. If you want to spend $50 but do 10 votes, you got to do it $5 at a time. It's the way the system works. And I can explain it to you all if you want to be bored. But anyway, do it.
All right, $5 from RPG Debunks. Jimmy gets rocky in his jockey when people tell him to go fuck yourself. So go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Hashtag Team Josie. I want to spread the love equally today. Thank you, RPG Debunks.
Would we get more or less money if which one's the more lucrative thing for the channel? If I say it is a sexual thrill or it's not?
How about we just leave it to just?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is for that.
The success of a line, the success of the line is a sexual thrill. So the answer is that whichever prompts you to give more money. That way, it can be different for everybody.
I'm glad I'm contributing to your sexual thrill.
Well, or are you?
Or am I?
We don't know. We never got the answer.
Josie's always sending out tweets. Don't give the line money.
It's all the compliments I give you, Jimmy. That's what makes you not trust me.
Mm-hmm. That is it. That is it. Oh, I forgot to do it at the beginning of the show. So far, it looks like Josie won our first debate, barring both parties actually having some actual honest reflection, which neither the Democrats nor the Republicans are going to do. It would appear that the 2024 election is probably going to be Trump versus Biden again, which is fucking so stupid.
I know.
I know.
It's just the way of the world. You just gotta know how to read those tea leaves.
Isn't it weird that I was more optimistic? I'm like the most misanthropic, pessimistic person I know. And yet,
I got cynical optimism.
Yeah.
I put my cynicism when it's needed.
So on the Biden side, I just truly thought he knew that he's too old. And I don't mean old as a factor of age, literally. The number is not what I mean by old. I mean, he seems like he's dying. That's what I mean by old.
I honestly, that presidential medicine's working because he's seems way more energized than he ever did back when he ran for office.
Recently, he peps up and down. Like when he fell off that bike, it took him some time to recover. Clearly, that bike fall that was initiated by nothing, that took some recovery time.
For sure.
Which is fine. If I go down on I pulled my ass muscle on Sunday or on a show recently, just trying to be silly. And we sit down on this program like once. So it's not like I'm just saying, I thought for sure he'd basically be the too old. And then I thought that there would be a sit down at some point where somebody says, Trump, do you want to be the king or do you want to be the guy who chooses the king? Do you want to be the de facto unofficial emperor of the Republican Party? And instead of trying to divide us, why don't you make DeSantis the king? And I thought something like that would happen. But
as a person who's rewatched Game of Thrones, how could you even think that is a possibility? Which king gives away their power? It's like, you know what? I don't need to sit there.
So first of all, I need you to know that the Game of Thrones is not even historical fiction. It's a historical fiction. But I get the point.
Really? It's not a real life documentary?
There were no dragons.
Damn it.
There were
I
no
thought
dragons.
there was like a country of
What?
Westeros.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Oh
no,
no, I
it's
now have to look at life differently.
it's total fiction. So I don't base my expectations of a political party on that. No, my bigger thing was I was sort of in Mary Trump's I sort of had Mary Trump's position, which is the loss last time stung so hard he'll never let it happen again, but he'll pretend it's on his terms. And that, you know, that still can play out, but at the moment it just actually kind of looks like that Josie was right.
Yeah. That's right. That's what's important.
This appears to be the case. I want to just say that this is my concession, even though I'm clearly leaving open this little door that it's, you know, it's not over till it's over. But I'm willing to concede now, and then, you know, if appropriate later, go, why did I concede? I'm the fucking coolest. But if it doesn't happen, then I conceded, and that's noble and honorable.
There you go. You got it all planned out.
Right. And because I haven't told anyone this plan, they won't realize how I'm manipulating to win either way.
Right.
Yeah, we're good.
It's completely secret.
Right. Don't tell anyone on the internet. Just certainly don't tell all of the internet.
Don't tell all of the internet.
Where's the next one?
Yeah. I think we're here. Oh, wait. I think you skipped that one.
Oh, I'm
Did we
sorry.
skip one? Yeah. Okay. So 5 pounds from Sean Usherwood. Nobody knows how many Fibonacci numbers. Oh, I Fibonacci numbers. There it goes. Are prime. It's believed infinity. Many are. I agree that it's infinity.
Well,
anyways.
But I think the point of this, it's also like the Goldbach conjecture and stuff. There are things that it's unfathomable to imagine that it isn't true, that it continues with the same, because the pattern for so long into the highest numbers we've even put on paper, right? So we're well past quadrillions. What's after quad? Quintillion, septillion. Like, we're well past numbers that are inconceptually high, that it still maintains its pattern. And yet we don't have a rudimentary proof that it will be that when you get larger. But our expectation is, as pattern recognizers, but this is an advanced pattern recognition. Like, at a certain point, it's like, sure, 2 doesn't make a pattern, 3 doesn't make a pattern, but does several quadrillion examples make a pattern that's unbreakable? And technically, we don't know that that's not true. And I like things like that. I think the excitement for someone like Sean is we might one day find the actual elementary proof. I think I said rudimentary earlier. Elementary proof of the Fibonacci and Goldbach and all that shit. Be cool.
It would be.
Did I just
20
did you fall
euros.
asleep? Was I boring everyone?
I did.
There wasn't a sound.
I dozed a little.
Who
It's okay
died? So somber and reverent in here.
20 euros from Ry Van Alphen. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. It's just such a soothing thing to say. Grats on the surgery, Dr. Ben. I hope you make a speedy recovery. Though as a Mayo lover, my vote goes to Team Josie. And just to be sure, go fuck yourself. Hold on, though. I'm all like,
This is
I'm
strange.
a Mayo lover too. Like, why am I the anti-Mayo person? Which
also Josie doesn't like
only eats vegan mayo.
Right.
I eat vegan mayo.
Right, which is
I'll
something
eat
else.
all mayo.
What is this? Something else? What
For
are you
the
talking
record,
about?
But like, there's nobody
Mayonnaise.
here that's anti-mayo. There are no anti-mayo
Look.
people here.
Trans women are women, but vegan mayo is not mayo. This is where I draw the line in the sand, you leftists. Oh, I love the nights that Josie's here. Josie,
Oh, it's so much good.
That's fun.
you're
It's so
the
fun.
best.
You're great too.
You're the best around. Even though
All
you
right,
turned the audience
50.
on me.
I know it's not my fault.
I do make it easy.
Yeah. 50 Swedish it's a Swedish krona or kroner. Yeah.
One
that's
of
it.
them.
From Puck Tholinder. You know what they say about social media. If you don't pay, you are the product.
Exactly.
Team Ben. How much is 50 Swedish krona, or like $20 or something? I don't know. I don't know the conversion.
It's about $5. And I think for
is it?
safety,
Okay.
just so we don't have to worry anymore, we'll just call it 50 secs. SEKS.
Okay.
50
Mark.
secs.
I know it. Yeah.
50 secs from Puck Hollinger.
I love that. That's what we're saying.
We're
I mean, it
doing
works. It works.
Did I give a point on this
50
one?
secs.
I think I didn't.
No.
Okay, there we go. So let's see. That's 39, meaning we need 11 more points to break 50. We've got 1, 2, 3. So we need at least 8 more votes to get to use the awesome prompts that both of them have to do and read on air, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah.
Yes, story time.
Josie, can we just watch you react to the photo that I sent you on Twitter? Don't
did you
show
send it,
the
Dowling?
photo. Yeah.
Don't show the photo.
Yeah, don't show the photo. Just react to it.
Okay. I've reacted.
We've basically with each of them, we gave them something that the other wanted from the other person.
Oh my gosh, it's cursed. The cursed image.
It's a cursed image, yeah.
I honestly
It is cursed.
The funny thing is Ben's side of that photo that we'll eventually reveal is the far more like it's the less surprising side of the photo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
This audience is just like, what the hell?
They came over for a photo shoot, and I'm doing this with everybody who's in the area, but came over for a photo shoot of new headshots and thumbnail shots. And because for people who don't know, I used to be a professional photographer, so I actually kind of know how to do stuff. And I showed off quickly some of my Photoshop skills, and this is the result. Do you want it framed?
I know. Yeah, it looks beautiful. It's so good.
It's cursed. It's absolutely.
It is cursed. It's a cursed photo.
Who's that Pokemon?
Oh, 10 euros from Ryvan Alphin. To be clear, Dr. Ben is a mayo lover. That's why my vote goes to Team Josie. And just to be sure again, go fuck yourself. Okay, fair. Your vote can go to the vegan mayo lover, which I also do like vegan mayo. So I just eat everything. That's my problem.
Veganese is great.
A vacuum. A food
I
vacuum.
am. I will eat anything.
I don't know why I still like
a lime.
When you came over, I don't remember what it was, but I asked you, do you like such and such? And then realized how stupid the question was. Of course he does.
$9.99 from Light.
Halcyon.
Is that Halcyon? That's right. Okay. Hashtag Team Josie. Deploy a cute pet. I heard that gives you a boost. Oh, well, if that's the case, then there she is in my messy floor. Oh my God.
She seems sweet. She just stands there waiting for you.
She just actually, it was a coincidence. She actually walked to her bed and then she walked under the desk now.
$5 from RC Deshen. Does Jimmy get CC in his TT? We have to tell him to go fuck himself. Yeah. Hashtag Team Ben. Jimmy, do you get that?
What is CC and TT? Do I get come in my tum-tum? Oh, deep cut. Hilarious. Well done. Well done. You stumped me with my own phrase. I forgot. Thank you, RC.
You forgot your own phrase.
Because this is a reference to what I speak is the Senate Minority Leader. What's his name? The American people. Mitch McConnell. What people don't understand is that the Republicans should want our cum in our tum-tums. I don't know why I enjoy the American people.
I'm going to tell you that impression is cursed because it's a mixture of Mitch McConnell and Bill Clinton.
Oh, I thought it sounded like Mitch and Boehner. That was my problem. Is I was feeling like I was getting a little Boehner-esque. A little American people. Cursed. I'm tired of us forgetting about small businesses. That's John Boehner. And he would cry about small businesses all the time.
Oh yeah, he would cry so much. I forgot about teary-eyed Boehner.
The other day, I met a person who had a small business. I can't do it. Turn off the cameras. American people. I can't. Man, now I can't get him. I can't get back to just.
I told you.
Oh, apparently it came down there. Oh, now I'm sounding a little bit like one of those old comedy people.
Yeah.
American people. I had polio. He did. He had polio. Did everyone know that? That's not a joke. He just had Mitch McConnell had polio. That's why he's pro-vax.
Oh,
wow.
Because he almost got fucked up by polio.
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
the polio
That's right.
vaccine was like so. Yeah. It wasn't a joke. Just a little fun fact about Mitch McConnell.
Yeah,
if anybody
fun fact.
If you ever have a list of people that you know had polio, you can add Mitch McConnell to the list.
I saw him. In the Senate chamber a few days ago. Ugh.
I might smoke a polio. Anyway, I don't get cum in my tum tum when. How would I get cum in my tum tum when being told to go fuck myself? Is it traveling backwards?
Whoa!
Or do I have incredible aim?
I'm gonna go with the.
Maybe
aim.
that's for the fanfic.
Right.
Maybe that's for the fanfic. We have to address
Jesus
we have to figure this out. Now we're so close to the fanfic for all of us too. Let's do this. Next one.
So I think we only have one more vote and 2 more messages, which means we need another 6
But there's a
votes to
big
break
one
50.
coming, isn't there?
I don't
No,
see
that
a big
one's the
one.
old one.
Yeah,
Nah, never mind. We already read that one.
That's the old one.
$5 from James Call. Had to change my mind. Josie Mayo is not real mayo. Josie Mayo is not real mayo. # Team Dr. Ben. You know, I don't like this real language here.
Can you tell me? What is a mayonnaise?
It would be so fun to have.
What is a mayonnaise?
To make
and what is a mayonnaise is very similar to what is a woman. It's the same premise of the conversation.
This could make such a funny parody video. Like going to college campuses and just, what is a mayonnaise? Is this a mayonnaise? And you're like walking around with like vegan and real mayonnaise.
Yeah, I want to do this. I should do this.
Okay, someone's telling me I missed one.
What if I told you this wasn't a real mayonnaise?
Here's another one. Yeah. How would you know? No one would know. I always know.
You can always tell.
You can always tell.
Yeah.
$5 from Melissa. Trump supporters aren't going to give him up and don't realize he's going to run around and desert them. He'll definitely tell them lies and hurt people. We just got fucking rickrolled.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Good one, Alyssa. That was a good one.
That was good.
This was the one that I had missed.
$5 from Tibbet Hug 92. I voted for Josie. Tabitha. Oh wow, I'm so bad. Tabitha Hug. Tabitha Thug.
Yeah, like
Tabby Thug.
Thug. Yeah.
I think it's a Tabby Thug.
It's Tabitha.
I voted.
We know Tabitha.
Sorry for telling you how to say your name. I voted for Josie, Jimmy, Ellie, but GFJ.
Even though there's no hashtag, this one time I'll give the vote because I want us to clench this thing.
Thank you.
We need 4 more though, people.
You want us to clench our buttholes.
4 more to break 50.
4 more.
4 more. 5 Australian from Jackie Andronicus. I'm doing my part. # Team Ben. The longer through the 3 months on Cipro I get without the estrogen, the more impatient I get to start in June. Slow start. Well, I'm glad that you've been able to start, and I hope that the time goes by quickly till you're able to get the estrogen. Rooting for you.
Yeah. It happened sooner than you think.
We're only 4 away, but here's another one.
Here's a couple. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe we'll clench.
Maybe we will.
I'm clenching so hard over here.
Clenching your buttholes.
I bet you are.
Do I come off? Do I seem like a tight-butted person? Someone who's in a constant state of clench? Not literally. I'm not talking about my anatomy. That I'm sort of an uptight, butt clenched human. I definitely am physically. I have irritable bowel syndrome amongst other colon issues. So for sure, I am physically clenching my butt all the time. But just wonder.
Such an attractive thing to share.
But don't you feel, Josie, don't you feel that the world would be so much more, think about your activism with gender and with sexuality and how it's like, hey, this is a thing that affects all of us. And yet so much of the problem is that we're afraid to even talk about it. So we only talk about the extremes because people want to fight against what they perceive as the extremes because they're different than themselves. And I'm just saying, could we save the world and all come together if we all really acknowledge that everybody poops? I kind of think we could.
I think we could. Yeah. I don't poop though, but everybody else.
See, this is you're contributing to the anti-poop lobby propaganda. Okay.
Well, see, girls don't poop, and that's how I knew I was trans.
You pooped one day, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
I pooped one day. Oh, I'm a dude. That's it.
Biological male. You're not even trans now.
Yeah.
Dr. Ben is a cis man now. He poops.
I've made a couple people angry on Twitter this week because I posted things about top surgery and people thought I was a cis man and they thought I was joking about top surgery. I was like, no, I actually had it this week, but a couple of people got angry.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. All right, next one.
Are you moving me along? You're a busy person. I get it.
I need to get the hook? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
$5 from Larry Fishman. Clearly, Team Josie has to host more often. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Larry.
Indeed, I agree with this.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. 20 Canadian from Kathleen Moncrief. Okay, but is Miracle Whip real mayonnaise or is it 3 garbage bags full of expired mayo in a trench coat? Hashtag Team Ben. See, again, these are questions. People can't even define mayonnaise in a simple way. So how can I trust when they call anything mayonnaise? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What's next, Cool?
That was worth 3 points. So we have now made it to 50, and I think we have one more.
We've done it. So we have to
write
fanfic?
Yes, we do. $5 from John Muir. Just tuning in now. Don't know what the contest is, but hashtag Team Regular Dr. Ben. Yay!
Thank you, John. And I hope you enjoy the punishments because Josie and I are both going to have to write some glorious fan fiction, including Jimmy Snow.
According to ChatGPT's prompt.
Should I read the prompts again and you can choose which one you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
In a world where snowball fights are a serious sport, a plucky transgender protagonist must train an inexperienced team of misfits to win the championship and defeat the reigning snowball champion, the sinister Jimmy Snow. Number 2, a transgender protagonist must navigate a bizarre frozen labyrinth created by the villainous Jimmy Snow. Can we look? Here's the thing. It keeps mentioning transgender protagonist, partly because that was what I didn't know who was going to win. So I said the prompt needs to be about a transgender protagonist and the villain is. Can we not make that Jimmy Snow is the villain for being a transphobe? Let's not write that into existence.
No.
Make that villainy totally
it's not going to be
separate.
that. It's not going to be that. Yeah. You're just a straight up villain. You're not a transphobe.
Thank you.
You're just a bad person. That's all.
Thank you. Some sort of Lex Luthor character, where it's kind of like he's evil, but he's not. Like Lex Luthor's pretty right about a lot. Like realistically, they should kill Superman. The existence of Superman is too much of a threat. But anyway,
that is a big threat.
Yeah, that's wild. That's why it's one of those things.
Have you seen Homelander? Gosh,
yeah.
I don't want that flying around here.
Yeah, watch The Boys and then tell me Lex Luthor's wrong. Like, fucking hell. Anyway.
And the last one?
Well, that one finishes along the way. They encounter talking snowmen, ice skating penguins, and other comical obstacles in their quest to defeat their icy foe. The number 3 was after Jimmy Snow turns the local talent show into a chilly disaster, a resilient transgender protagonist must rally their fellow performers to stage a hilarious and heartwarming comeback, melting the audience heart and foiling Snow's plans.
So I think we should all do one of them. So one person peaks one of the 3. So that way we have 3 individual different stories to tell.
Wait, why am I writing? Oh, do I have to write too?
I thought that was the game. I thought you were the
No,
part
you
of
don't
this.
have. Jimmy doesn't have to.
Oh,
he just has to be in it.
Okay, so So
Yeah.
Ben, you and I have to decide what.
Which one do you want?
I'm kind of leaning toward, I think I don't know, either snowball fight or the one with the snowmen as friends. I don't know.
I'll take the talent show one.
So you want the same one or no?
No, we're not going to do the same one. I'm going to do the snowball fight one then.
Okay.
Okay.
So it sounds like here I'm gonna send just all three. Wait.
Yeah.
I'll send all three so you can pick. But it sounds like number 1 was the snowball fight, and number 3. So I'm just gonna tell this thing to write a short story less than, we'll say 250 words on this one to make it real quick, based on prompt 2. So I'm going to have ChatGPT write the one you all didn't pick and read it.
Yes.
Okay.
And then here is
another super chat.
Yeah, here's another one.
To you, Dr. Ben, I think.
That's me.
On the one. Yeah.
5 Australian from Jackie Andronikos. One more hashtag Team Ben. I feel you, Jimmy. IBD for me. Crohn's. It should be more normalized to talk about. I actually had a colonoscopy on Monday. Go fuck yourself. You had the butt snake. That's what we call it, the butt snake.
I have had several because of my medical history, and not only that, I have had a mostly unsedated version of both, upper and lower end, because of complications from procedures that were recent and their reluctance to use anesthesia and sedatives. So yeah, it was dope.
Wow, that sucks.
That sounds terrible.
Most traumatizing thing. Nah, it's not the most traumatizing thing. The lower end, I'm surprised more people don't do. I think it's just a matter of perception. There's very little even discomfort because they do locally numb stuff, and lower end is not a big deal. Upper endoscopy awake is not tremendous.
Yeah, because you feel like you're choking on it.
And you see their arms moving, so you have a sense of how much has just gone down your throat.
Yeah.
It's
I haven't had one done, but I've been assisting in doing it.
All right. Who's ready for this very short ChatGPT story?
Yes, I'm ready.
Ready.
In the heart of winter wonderland, a bizarre frozen labyrinth materialized, trapping the townspeople. The mastermind behind this icy creation was none other than the villainous Jimmy Snow. With a maniacal grin, he reveled in their despair. Enter Alex, a quick-witted transgender protagonist determined to outsmart Jimmy and restore warmth to their town. Navigating the chilly maze, Alex encountered a chatty snowman named Frosty, who knew a thing or two about Jimmy's icy secrets. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinth, they stumbled upon a colony of ice-skating penguins, led by the charismatic Penelope, who also desired Jimmy's defeat. Together, the unlikely trio formed a plan. The penguins would distract Jimmy with their synchronized ice skating routine. That would do it. While Alex and Frosty snuck up to deactivate the labyrinth's frozen core. The plan was bold and full of potential mishaps, but they were determined. The penguins dazzled Jimmy with their comical dance on ice, allowing Alex and Frosty to slip past unnoticed. As they approached the frozen core, the air grew colder. But they pressed on. With a well-aimed snowball, Alex shattered the core, causing the labyrinth to collapse and melt away. Freed from the icy grip, the townspeople rejoiced, while a defeated and dripping Jimmy Snow was apprehended. The warmth of friendship and determination had prevailed, as Alex, Frosty, and Penelope became the town's unlikely heroes.
Aww.
What a story.
That was a cute little story.
I like that it didn't make me a transphobe, and to tell you the truth, it didn't even it went with Alex, because we all know a lot of trans Alexes. Let's be honest.
I do know a lot of trans Alexes.
Didn't even commit to whether Alex was a woman, a man, non-binary, just Alex.
They're just Alex.
No pronouns.
Just like every Alex I know.
Yeah. Just Alex. Alex.
They're just Alex.
I love it.
It was a good story.
It was. Well, this was great. I always love being here. I'm always happy to join. Luckily, I had a clearing in my calendar to be able to finish my day doing this, so it was nice.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody in the audience, for being here and for supporting the stream. And next time, we'll have some fun fanfics for you. But until then, I guess we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, this is where the credits run with the patrons that are like our top tier patrons.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Y'all pretend that the audio has cut out and that you're just like doing the stuff they do on the news where they're like wrapping up. But the mics are hot. You should know the mics are hot. But you pretend that they're not. So here it goes. Oh, why isn't the music playing? There we go.